And good evening, everyone. I'm Blaine Singletary. Welcome to the ARML on this Thursday night. I'm Blaine Singletary. And joining me on the desk tonight is Nathaniel. How are you doing tonight?
Doing great. I'm glad that we get to cover a little bit more Mahjong today. I know we had an earlier cast of some, I believe it was B3 matchup, and now we get to do some B1 and A2.
That's
Or
right.
B1 and
Two
A1,
great.
maybe.
Yes, I believe it's B1 and A1 tonight. Yes, two great matches for you tonight on the card. Getting started here in just a minute or so is Claire, who just came back from WRC and a good showing there. And she'll be going against Travis Tucker, our broadcast colleague, and also Philip, who I believe also helps a little bit on these broadcasts.
Yeah, absolutely. Philip is a common name to see in the, sometimes the Discord streams that we see for the ARML channel. Not official broadcasts, but is always willing to
Right.
chime in with his thoughts. And
Mhm.
yeah, this is going to be an interesting battle because it seems to be a chase to get into the promotion zone right now. Philip and Tucker, 8 and 9. Travis just outside that range, but we are getting into things now. Travis is the first dealer to the right. Philip across the table is Claire, and to the left, Tucker. We see an early north call from Claire across the table. It looks like that hand will be aiming for Chanta with 2 Dora 1 pin in hand.
It's a great opening hand there as well, and especially with that 3 pickup, this is an easy Chanta.
Absolutely. Just needs a couple more tiles to go her way. Can
Meanwhile,
anybody?
Anwi is starting with an Anko of the South. Not the Yakuhai here, but has a lot of other good, encouraging shapes. But with Claire picking up that 9 so triplet now, that's gonna really put time short here.
Yeah, Claire Ishanta now wants to call a 1 pin again to make this a guaranteed Mangan. Might even float around this Haku, but if it comes out, then Philip might call here, who also has
There
the
we go.
East pair. And we'll be hoping to make Yakuhai Dora 1, perhaps.
We have some pretty good progress from the dealer. We haven't looked at this hand much yet, but we have already 2 sets locked in the Manzu, as well as a pair, and a couple of leftover Sozu, but we'll see if that can come together. It'll have to come together quite quickly. That pair might help.
Yeah, technically 2 away from Tempai here. It's not bad. Anwi still holding on to this East Wind, not allowing Philip to call it, but actually probably trying to prevent Claire from grabbing it.
That would be what I would be thinking is the bigger threat here. Absolutely.
Oh, you can chi into Tempai here.
And there we go. Double, that's a Shanton weight, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's right.
For the one of Sozu or Pinzu.
It's so tricky. You call chi on that 1 so, and then you're waiting on the 1 so again. Will anybody suspect it? Right now, the last 1 so in the wall, both of the 1 pin held in various hands. One in the dealer, which is Travis, and then one to the right with Philip. And they all should be aware that this could be a Chanta. You might also think Honitsu, but the early 7 so put some question marks on that.
That is true. Yeah, it does make the 1 pin look rather safe, but I imagine they're probably noticing something's up with that. And it does fit pretty well in the 2 hands that it's currently in.
Yeah,
Still
a little
1 left in the wall.
interesting for Philip.
Actually, no, there's not 1 left in the wall.
It discarded
but there it
3
is.
pin. Yeah, which implies the 1 pin coming out. Saw that 3 of the 2 pins were out and thought it was going to be hard to put together, but that gives Claire the Mangan in the early lead.
We didn't even mention the 1 pin was Dora there, so that's 3 Dora and an incredible starting lead for Claire as we head into East 2. The Dora this time is the 6 so, and a pretty good starting hand for Philip at this moment. We have a pair of the whites and the norths, and a completed set of the 789 Pinzu, and some other good shapes there as well. This could be a Chanta as well in the best case scenario.
Philip leaning toward that immediately with the 4 pin cut. You might otherwise discard, say, East or a 1 so or the 9 mon, but really leaning towards that Chanta and draws the 2 so immediately. So this is looking good for that.
Meanwhile, Claire's hand, already an Anko of the 4 so locked in, as well as some good shapes already coming together here. A pair in the Sozu as well. Got some possibilities here. Ooh, that 8 is also going to help things along. And Tucker, meanwhile, has that 4 is going to help finish off a set in the Pinzu. Got some good shapes in the Manzu as well, and a pair of the Chun at the moment.
Yeah, Tucker really wants to be, well, he's Ishan 10, but the problem is you're using the Chun as a pair in that case, and Tucker really wants to use that as a set and get a little extra value. So we'll probably hold on to this 2-pin pair a little bit longer and try to move out of one of these 7-9 shapes. Well, there's a 4 and starts to shift things around. So still Ishan 10. But this time has 2 pairs, and so can actually call the tune.
Travis, meanwhile, has 2 sequences locked in, and oh, there's a pair of the 7 so, and looks like he's going to go for that. And as well as having a good shape for the 3 Mon that would have fit in there. Of course, that's now getting discarded. Rather unlikely he'd be able to pick up the last remaining one in the wall.
Itsu looking so good for Travis.
Yeah.
Love to draw the 3 and get the Pinfu, of course.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's right. It is almost a full straight there. Has
But
a
you're not,
Dora as well.
yeah, it's a very strong hand. You're not terribly upset if you draw the 6-1 either. But we can see that that's actually quite difficult to draw, as Tucker has drawn 3 of those. In fact, Claire's Ricci, and they will be waiting on 5-8.
That would be Tucker going to Ricci.
Yes. 5-8 Mon for Tucker.
Don't believe Claire has called it yet, but she's close.
Chun kind of stuck in Claire's hand, and actually Tucker has the pair, but it's only going to be a pair, so it would be a safe discard should she decide it's worth pushing.
Yeah. At this late into it, and with a Ricci called, that looks rather suspicious. Or rather dangerous, I should say.
Yeah, you're starting to wonder if you can push against this because there was an early Dora cut of the 6-0 from Tucker, and also a follow-up Dora from Travis. So you're wondering, well, how valuable could this hand even be? Of course, with Ricci, it could be a number of things.
Claire appears to be folding here, taking that 6-pin, even though that would be Suji safe. So the 9. Well, not entirely. You still have to worry about the other side, of course.
Yeah, the 3-6 still may be a bit dangerous, and it looked like Claire was too far, not enough value to make this worth pushing. Perhaps if she was the one to have drawn a Dora 6-0, she would have considered pushing a little bit more, but really it's been everyone else at the table who's drawn and discarded that tile.
Another good step in the right direction for the dealer here, for that Chanta we were alluding to before. Sadly, that's about the only progress they've gotten since we've started looking at this hand here.
Yeah, Philip had the option to call the North Wind on the first discard of the game, chose not to, and then it moved in the Chanta direction. We haven't seen a North since then, and the Haku is sitting in Travis's hand as well. So 1 North, 1 Haku in the wall. If Philip were to push this hand and call for Tempai or draw into Tempai, would have to deal in the 8 Mon. So it would almost be better served to not get Tempai here. Oh, here's a chance. Will you call the 1 Mon? Does do so. 8 Mon comes out, will deal in.
Well, goes to Tenpai, but deals in the process. That'll be 3,600 points to Ennui when factoring in the Ricci stick there.
Yeah, Ricci, Peiko for Ennui, not a bad pickup.
Good hand for, not Philip. Oh, it is Philip. Yeah, good hand for Philip starting out there, we just saw. But we are moving on to East 3 with the Dora being 2 so. Claire is dealer now, and we see a couple of pairs in this hand already set. Some other shapes of good hands to come here, but still has a little bit of work to go there. But looking back at Philip's hand, already an Anko of the Green Dragons, has a pair of Souths as well, and some just a smattering of other tiles, unfortunately. Maybe you could make something work with the 7-8 and the Manzu there, but picking up that third South.
Could this be another Chanta?
It could be a Chanta, yeah. Or you could even do Chanta Honitsu if you really want to be gutsy with it.
Yeah, that'd be some fancy maneuvering.
And the wall's giving you nothing but honors, so that makes you start thinking, maybe I can do this.
Yeah, I think if you pair up one more honor, you are definitely thinking about it.
Hmm. Meanwhile, Tucker's hand has a pair, or rather a completed set there in the Manzu with an extra 8 on top, and some other good shapes there. Not quite. That's going to take some work. It's in a it's in a good place though. And similar story for Travis, though we're seeing a completed set there and another completed, well, now a completed sequence with that 8 pickup. So that hand's about halfway along as well.
Yeah, well, let's look at Philip. Had replaced the east and the north with a 5 and 6 so not full commit to Honitsu, but at this point he has all the Honitsu shapes he needs. Unfortunately, his pair at this point would be the 9 and that is twice cut, so would probably trade that out for something else if at all possible.
You could even luck out and make the 5s it or something, or
Absolutely.
get an extra Sozu, drop one of your honors out, drop the South, you know?
This is Ishanten for Philip now. Needs the 6-9 Mon or the 3 Dealer Ishanten as well. Claire aiming for Richinomi.
Yeah, that's come together quite nicely since we've been observing this. Those 5 and 6s and the 7 there. Well, I was about to say you could possibly go for Sanshoku, but at this point, go for the reach, especially as dealer.
We'll see a chase. Yeah, Travis found Tenpai as well. Richie Tanya for Travis. Richie Tanya Dora 1, waiting on the 3 but Claire with the Ipot Satsumo.
Nice. Richi Ipatsu and fully concealed hand. That makes it 8,000 points. Not just Richi Nomi anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Richie Nomi turns into 6,000 total.
And we repeat now in East 3. The Dora is the North this time. And already quite a nice hand from Claire at the start here. One completed set already. I see 2 pairs and a couple almost completed sets as well. So pretty nice start here for Claire. Tucker, meanwhile, has 3 pairs, 4 pairs rather, already. All lined up nice and neat there. With some other shapes. Looks like he's maybe going to... they're maybe going to look for... maybe Chinitsu here, maybe just kind of dipping toes in, see how that works. Meanwhile, Travis has a pair of the Souths and a good amount of the Manzu at this point, but what you make out of that is remains to be seen. And Philip here has an Akko of the 9 Mon and 2 pairs to go along with that in the Norths and the Sozu, so...
Important reminder, the North being the Dora. That is the wind for the seat wind for Philip, so could call a set of Dora. I'm 100% certain that because I hadn't seen it at the start, but I'm 100% certain that the first discard in North, Philip did not have the pair yet. Otherwise, he would have 100% called that.
Right. I don't think he did either.
I'm curious how Honitsu Travis's hand is going to be by the end of this. It looks like that's the only way you can find any sort of value here. I guess you're
especially picking up that 2.
Yeah. Retaining the pair of 1 pin, hoping perhaps that if the Honitsu doesn't come together, at least you might get Chitoi, but...
Ooh, now Honitsu Ipeko.
Yeah, would still have to get rid of the 1 pin, though, and...
Yeah.
That's not impossible if you draw the 6-9 Mon first, then you start to discard your pins and tiles.
Mm-hmm. Or you could, you are also Ishanten for Chinitsu. Not Chinitsu, Chitoi.
Claire was angling...
Claire calls reach.
Yeah, she was angling for the Itsu, the straight and the Sozu, but drew back into Tenpai with the 5 pin and decided it was late enough to just throw the stick in. Waiting on the Con 4 pin, there's actually only 1 left in the wall, and 1 discarded. A pair in Anmi's hand that's probably not coming out, as Anmi is actually Ishanten as well for Chitoi. Dora got picked up by Philip, and he will absolutely push this hand.
Wow. There we go. And another pair picked up by Fake GG, and that's going to be Ricci as well.
7 is safe to the Ricci, and I think we'll get called by Philip. 3 comes out. Tenpai for Philip now on the 3-6 and the 6 is Travis's winning tile as well. We could see... Oh, Sumo instead.
Oh, wow. Incredible. Everything coming together at the last second. That'll be
North
Dora
Dora
3 with the
3.
Norths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Philip
That's
picking up a manga now.
moving him into third place here as we head into East 4. The Dora is now west in this East 4, and currently in the dealer's hand as Tucker gets going here. We see a couple of, well, nothing concrete yet. Well, there's one set for you, one sequence. Otherwise, have a few fragments of sets. A little work to be done here, indeed. We have Philip already calling the Hatsu across, or Haku, rather. And that'll go into that hand that's looking, it's starting to come together. You have some shapes, some pairs. It's going to take some work, though. That was probably a good way to get started, but more to come. Claire, meanwhile, with an Anko of the 9 Mon, and also, well, this could be another Chanta again, perhaps.
You're right. We've seen so many of those. Dora 2 now. That's a huge pickup.
Ooh, right. Well, that'll fit nicely into this. The only
Philip.
thing... Oh, there you go. Oh,
What's
but
the Tonki? Nice.
Philip is getting very close now for a toy hand. Now waiting on Tonki.
had Tempai in the 2-mon, but you know, if you're given a free 2 Han, why not take it? And there's the North. And so Claire's Tempai on the 1-4 both will win, but the win will also give Chanta. And that would be a Mongon if she managed to win on the 1 pin.
So when you're in this situation where all you've got's the Tonki, are you the kind of person that likes to switch that weight up as much as possible to confuse people, or do you just wait on your 1? In this case, it literally is a 1, and there it is. So,
well, it's a good thing he stuck with this one. Sometimes I'll switch it up if it's something like, say I have the 1-2 shape, I call something else, I drop the 2. People might suspect that I have the 1 as well, given that normally you have tiles that are close to each other when you'll have 4 left. So I might switch around that case, or if I think there's a tile that I strongly believe will come out, I'll switch it up. But in this case, he didn't find anything he liked better than the 1 Mon and just kept it here and won because of it.
Yep. There we go. A little bit of a refresh there for 10-0 now as we move into South 1. The Dora is the Tuso, and right now Travis is starting off as dealer in this hand. Starting off in the back for this round with 18,000 points. With this hand, though, you could... this looks doable as dealer. We got some sequences already locked in and some that are close to being completed. All the tiles are pretty close together. They all have buddies at this point in the game, which is always an encouraging sign. Good draw, yes, with the 4. Meanwhile, Philip has a few pairs going on here.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So actually, I want to jump in and commentate on that decision by Travis. Had Pinfu Ishanten, if you wanted to discard the 1-3 Mon, chose to discard the 3 pin instead, which is still Ishanten, but would likely be waiting on the 2 Mon in the end. I think he is trying to greed a little bit for Tanyao/Itsu in the Pinzu. And that's a Dora.
It wouldn't seem the 2 Mon is going to be what he's going for now after dropping the 1.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by the play, but we'll see. We've seen Travis make some just monster hands out of seemingly nothing, so we'll see how he develops this one.
An orthodox style that works. That's all that matters in the end.
Yeah, you'd mentioned Philip was aiming for something like a Pinfu perhaps, but has 3 pairs. Toyman is Claire, and she might have a Tanya, also pair heavy. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And then to the left, it's Anhui, who has the south pair. That is the round win, so could call that is Ishanten actually.
Yeah. Everything was kind of coming up cheat toy again for a second.
Yeah, right?
But I think things are all starting to even out now.
Yeah, Anhui now picking up a Dora. Calling the south for 2,000 is not terrible as it moves you over 30k.
That is an important mark to be over rather than under.
I was still 2 away here. Trying to think about.
Well, that's a good pickup for Claire. Bit of progress
Discarding.
there.
Yeah, discarding one of the pairs as a result.
Still has 2 other ones. Travis calling the 6, 7, 8 there to move this to East Shanten, I believe.
Yes.
For Tanyao. Open Tanyao.
Decides he needs to speed things up a little bit. Oh, what a draw for Ennui.
Ooh. Very nice. Calling Ricci, of course.
Ricci
Now waiting on
Dora 1.
Waiting on the 4 and the 1 so. And now Claire is in Tenpai, waiting on the 7 Mon 8 pin for that Shanpon wait.
2 tiles left in the wall for the Shanpon.
Hmm.
And I believe 2 left for the other weight as well. All the 4s are out, so just the 1 so in the wall for Ennui.
Yeah. We have 1 in the discards and 1 as the Dora indicator.
Travis is in a kind of a rough spot here. You know 2 players are Tenpai. A 2 Mon just came out, so it's safe.
What do you do as Philip in this situation?
I think if you're Philip, you're fine bailing. You don't really have a hand, and the south is incredibly awkward. It might be a little difficult to bail, though. The 1 pin should be relatively safe. And of course, he has the 9 pin pair. So I think he should have enough tiles to get out of this safely. But yeah, Travis really wants to push for this because it's his last dealership. Oh, and that's a Dora. I don't think you can drop it. Really wishing he had the Dora he discarded on turn 5 back. But there's a world where he can find Tenpai and get another dealer continuance. Clara switches up the weight.
The dealer picking up an Anko of the 5 Bon now.
Okay, so this is going to be Tenpai a number of ways. Chooses to wait on the Fudita Dora. That 9 will not deal in. Claire does not have a Yaku.
Oh,
with the
right.
9. She switched up the weight from
the 6. Gonna call the 9 anyway, though. And drops the 8 Mon. 8 so, rather.
8 so was safe from the Ricci, and you don't have to draw a tile and potentially draw something dangerous this way. So if possible, she'll call again and drop something safe if she has something that is safe.
Which on the final 3 tiles, it's just getting into the no 10 payments or at this point.
Oh no.
Oh, but that might all change with this.
That actually deals
there goes.
How did Philip get a hand out of this?
Wow. and we put him as the underdog. What is he going to do to defend? But he just came through here and converted.
Well,
now even closer to the lead.
He saw the South, ended up pushing it and pulling out the win, stealing the Ricci stick as well.
Absolutely impressive.
Yeah.
And here we go with South 2. He's the dealer now. And the Dora is 8 Mon. We see one of those in this hand. Along with now a pair of the Hatsu and some good sequences set up in the Pinzu already. And a few just tiles here and there to be sorted out later. But start otherwise. Claire has a great presence of the Manzu in this hand. 3 pairs in that suit already. And a good sequence at the end there with the Sozu. Tucker, meanwhile, has a good sequence in Sozu themselves, and a couple of Shun sitting at the end there. And on the left, we see, in Travis's hand, a sequence already for the Sozu, and a pair for the Pinzu, but otherwise you have those 4 wins that aren't really doing anything as cool as they may look together.
You wish you could make sequences out of wins when you start with a hand like that, but unfortunately, unless you're playing some special brand of Mahjong, that doesn't quite work this way. We saw Philip make a call of the good shape, the 5-6 pin with the 7, and so it looks like he's just aiming for a dealer continuance.
Valid play there for sure.
Might even call here, and this is a little bit risky because you're opening yourself up. You're a little bit weaker against Arichi, and you're relying on the Hatsu at this point. Unless you can draw, unless you can draw around the 5 so, which is it's possible. And it'll be quite interesting to see if he draws, a 4 or a 6 so, will he drop the Hatsu pair? If he draws a 3 or a 7 so, will he drop the Hatsu pair? I'm not sure what Philip's playstyle is here, if he prefers the Tanyao or the Atozuke play with the Hatsu, but
Be interesting to
quite
see for sure.
absolutely. No, there's the 6 so.
There's
Throws
Travis
right
calling
back.
the Souths, which is Yakuhai now. I was about to say it wasn't, but it is the round wind. That looks
Travis.
like it could be a Chanta here.
We've seen that so many times. Travis, I think, one of the players who is a bit reticent to. Oh no, I think that must be a different Travis. We see. I remember there's a player who had like a 18% call rate, but at least this season, at this Travis is 33%. And so, although the stand isn't probably going to be terribly expensive, it's at that point where he needs points to come from anywhere. So, willing to call the South here. We also saw Tucker across the table make a call.
Yes. An open Ipeko. Not that that has any bearing on points.
Will is also Atozuke, so he needs the tune. They need the tune, and Philip needs the Hatsu. Well, Tucker's holding the Hatsu, so we'll see how long this standoff lasts. It might break now.
Well, Claire's also holding on to a Hatsu. So
players can tell someone needs it.
Yeah.
And Ennui makes the play to keep the wide weight, can still call the tune, can find a weird tempai with the 7 or the 4 so as well, and does not discard the Hatsu.
Ooh. Things, you can feel the tenseness here. Everybody's kind of taking their time with these moves.
You just, Tucker's willing to break his own Ishanten to prevent dealing the Hatsu here.
Yeah, that looks very dangerous now, especially in the last 15 tiles.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he's concerned about Travis's hand, perhaps, as well. Now Philip has a 6-pin that doesn't look entirely safe on this board. So he'll hold on to it over the 1 so. And yeah, Ennui's out. Did not call the
dropping
tune.
the reds, yeah. He's out of this one. Everyone hanging on to the Hatsu, though.
We could see a round where no one is tempai. There is a chance for Travis to find tempai before the end of things.
Yeah. The dealership would pass without a point exchanged. Rare, but it happens.
All right, looks like Tucker's not getting there. Finding the safest tile to discard here. Travis also not going to make it.
Just play it safe now.
Same for Philip.
Yep, no tenpai here.
And there we have it. Ryukyoku, no players tenpai.
A very quiet South 2, and that'll move us straight on to South 3.
I think when that happens, you don't get a release of the tension. It just stays high into the start of the next round.
But take a look at this hand. I mean, I think we see a lot more potential from these hands this time, just in general, glancing around the table. Our dealer Claire already have an Anko of the 2-pin, pair of the 1-pin, and some good shapes in the other suits as well. That's coming together very quickly, especially with that 7 pickup. Taking a look at Ennui's hand right now, we see a couple of pairs there as well. But it's going to need some help with the rest of the hand, though, unfortunately. Looking at Travis's hand, a pair of the Easts, and you got a sequence in the Pinzu all set up and ready to go. And meanwhile, Philip, though, this is going to be the guy to beat. Just calling the triplet of the 7-pin there, has an Anko of the Chun in the pocket, and already, I believe, Ishanten with that sequence.
Well, forget that. Tenpai now.
We're tenpai. 5 for the 8 to pick. Total change of pace all of a sudden. I think Philip's about to take everybody unawares.
Yeah, it looks like a Tanyao, but it isn't. And Claire, well, she'll make a is going to pick the wrong choice. Had a you have 2 Diam and you get to keep. Well, had 3, you get to keep 2, and chose to keep the
Oh,
one
it
with the
doesn't
Dora.
matter though. Oh, that would have put her in Tenpai, but the deal's in. And now they're very close to the lead here, moving into South 4.
Somehow,
Total change of pace here.
Yeah, despite that direct hit, Claire still barely in the lead.
Just 800 points. Incredible. Well, let's keep going here. Tucker on the final dealership here as we move into all last. This is a great hand, though. Take a look at this. 3 pairs, and a sequence already locked in. 2 of those pairs are Yakuhai, mind you. And,
yeah, is this going to be Honitsu, or are you going to try to keep that Dora West for as long as possible? I'm very curious to see how Tucker plays this.
The West is Dora, I neglected to mention. Wow, that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. We already have Travis's hand here is also looking quite nice. Already 2 sequences locked in. You know, Chanta's a pretty rare Yaku, but we're seeing that come up again and again this game. Well, maybe with that 4, not so much anymore, but that was definitely looking that way at first.
We made the decision to drop the 3-pin, so no Honitsu, and
we have
retain
dealer
the Dora.
Tenpai.
Yeah, a second call is now Tenpai, so 6-9. Not max value, but we'll move him.
All you need right now, all they need right now is just to stay alive here, and you could very feasibly make that climb to first in this go right now. But Claire picking up the 9 mon, gonna drop it, and that's gonna keep Tucker alive here. Just 2,900 points. But again, that's all you need. And now you're over 30k, so that is a plus in and of itself.
Yeah, they'll be extremely happy with that win, and we'll hope to make a fight for first. I mean, look how tight it is at the top. Claire actually falls below Philip now.
Ooh.
And Tucker's got a chance to take it.
Absolutely. We see 3 pairs in this hand starting out. Dora's 3 mon, and this would fit in perfectly with it. Let's see. Travis has one right now in his hand as well, along with good shapes in the Manzu. Could turn that into a sequence if you've got time, but with the pace going here, probably doesn't have time. Good shapes in the other suits as well. And Philip, meanwhile, has a pair here and there, but it's going to need some work to catch up here. And Claire, 2 Yakuhai pairs, just the same ones, I believe, as we saw Tucker with just last hand. And picking up some great shapes in the Pinzu there. It's a race between, I believe, Tucker and Claire this time.
I would agree. Of course, Claire with a slight advantage in the fact that she can call this hand, but Tucker's drawing well. That's a Dora, and this is Ishanten. A very nice Ishanten. Your floaters are the 5 mon and 5 pin, so it should be pretty easy to stick a tile onto one of those and declare Richi. Maybe even Richi Pinfu, or Richi Pinfu Ipeko Dora 2, something like that if you want to go crazy.
Yeah. Which, again, craziness is not the mode you want to be in right now when you're Tucker. You just want to convert just a couple more times. Then again, if you do see the shot to jump all the way to the front right away, why not take it?
Claire is 2,100 points behind Philip, but there's a Homba. So that means that a 2-han hand will be enough to claim first place here. So Yakuhai is good enough. There's, well, actually, East isn't Yakuhai for Claire. So actually, calling's a little bit difficult. Would need to take a hit directly on Philip with a 1-han hand.
Meanwhile, Claire getting all the honors but the ones she needs here.
Tucker has yet to find the 1 tile. Ends up switching the 5 pin away for the 4 so, which is a reasonable.
We're seeing Claire and I'm gonna say Kanye, but no, it's Claire and Tucker's hand stalling. Right as I say that, though, Tucker gets Tenpai, calling reach now. Waiting on the 5 and the 2 so, which we already see a ton discarded on Claire's side of the field right now. So that might make these look safe since they're already twice and 1 cut, respectively.
I think that's part of the Oh, there's a 5
Ooh.
so. Philip not
Oh,
discarding it
good,
though.
good read there.
Yeah, was discarding from the 9 so parish, so we'll see if
Hmm,
Philip chooses to
that's true.
fight, depending on what gets drawn later. But I think Tucker might have been thinking, I see a lot of so being dropped by other players. I don't think they need it. So maybe if I connect something to the so tile, I'll be able to hit one of the other players. Or also maybe thinking the 5 pin's kind of dangerous, or it feels like it's becoming dangerous. I don't want to be holding this around too long. The so looks like a safer discard later.
Speaking of which, Philip hanging on to the Hatsu yet again, because that also looks pretty dangerous right now. Even though he
Shompai.
dropped the first one.
Oh, you're right. It isn't Shompai. It was one cut earlier. So once cut
Mhm.
Hatsu not being discarded is a sign that Philip is willing to let this dealership continue in Yukioku. Travis not willing to let that happen though. At least not quietly. Makes a call
Uh,
in the Pinzu, and this is a
hmm.
Yaku-less Tempai.
Claire picking up the 5 so, wisely hanging on to it. She sees what Tucker's going for here.
And for both Philip and Claire, you don't have to fight.
Hmm.
If
Oh, but Tucker drops the 8 mon.
that's the
That's
Yaku-less
not a.
Tempai on the right.
Yeah, that's Yakulas Tenpai.
So yeah, safe from a deal in there. Because if this ends in Yukioku, we go again. Tucker will grab some no 10
Mm-hmm.
payments, and we'll see another
Mm-hmm.
round. So they don't have to do anything crazy here to try to confirm their
Mm-hmm.
placement. Oh no!
Well, it's still.
That's a final
Oh
discard.
no, it is. Oh, you're right. That's the Yaku. Oh wow. And that's
So
going to give up the lead and give Travis some points now. Right at the end here, 5,200 points transferred for, and under the river, and 3 Dora. Or 2
well,
Dora? That was 2 Dora. Yeah.
yeah, I was not expecting to see a Hote finish this off, but
Wow.
I mean, it
Incredible
just passed from
finish.
the dealer, so it seemed safe enough.
Hmm. Well,
And
there you go. That's all she
Travis sat
wrote.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Travis sat there thinking about it. Do I want this round? Do I want to go to another round? Even because it would confirm 4th place. Decided it
Mhm.
was still worth it. And at this point, Tucker's thinking, "Man, I shouldn't have thrown that stick out. That'd be over 30,000 right now." The
Mm.
positive finish, but as it is, Claire will claim first place plus 19.4. Philip with that Hote Dylan only the positive 7.3. Ennui grabs the 3rd place, and Travis collects up some points at the end, but still in 4th. And we'll update the standings presently, and then look forward to another match.
Overall, it's still finished as a pretty close game. I mean, when you've only got the leader going over 4,400 over 30K, another way to say it would be just 34,400.
Yeah,
Um, that shows to me that this was pretty hard fought, and I mean, even last place there, picking up the points at the end to finish over 20K is pretty good there. But we will see Claire once the boards update get back into the positives here and be pretty close to a crowded field to fight for those coveted promotion slots to get back into A2.
absolutely. So yeah, with plus 19, Claire should move positive 17, which will be just. Oh, actually, that will actually surpass Tucker, I believe, or maybe just shy. Depends on. It'll be very
Tucker
close, within
losing.
hundreds.
Yes, Tucker's going to be down to 18 and a half ish. Yeah, it's going to be very close.
Yeah, 19.3 for Tucker, and
And
then
Tucker's a math teacher. They'd have this all in the bag right
absolutely
now.
Tucker's gonna watch the stream back and laugh at us for fumbling our math. I'm a math teacher too, so
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I should have this. I should have this too. But
Well, I'm just a producer for a living, so the only math I do is with time codes. So I deal with base 60, or
oh
whatever you
wow,
call it, a lot. Yeah, because you got to figure out seconds and all.
fair.
Yeah. But I believe we will be seeing another game from this group here coming up shortly.
Yeah, still on break. They have not started the next match, and of course we have the 5-minute delay, even when they do begin. So
So we'll just take a quick break ourselves. You're watching the ARML, and stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly. And welcome back, everybody, to the ARML Thursday night. I'm Blaine Singletary, joined tonight by Nathaniel. And we're getting ready for game two of this table featuring Travis, Philip, Tucker, and Claire. Already some great action, and we're sure to see even more coming up in just a few seconds.
Well, you know the day has been an interesting one when you have the final hand ending on a hote with a no yaku hand. So, hoping to see more action like that in this next game.
Mhm. Well, we saw different. I mean, we even saw lulls in this that were just tense. Well, we saw a no 10 across the table in that South round as well. So,
Yeah,
and then immediately, like a turn five Ricci or turn four or sooner or something like that. Just absolutely nuts.
yeah. So many Chanta chances as well.
Yes, that too. Which is again a pretty rare Yaku to come across, but we saw that coming up again and again. We'll see if that happens here. East 1 is underway. Once again, Travis will be our first dealer, starting us off in East 1. The Dora is a 4 so, and that would fit nicely into this hand. We're seeing some other good, encouraging shape, but otherwise a lot of work to be done here. Nothing really set in stone except for a pair in the Manzu. Meanwhile, Tucker got a lot of honors in this hand. A lot of dragons, a lot of ones and nines. Too early to call it Chanta at this point, but that is certainly an option one can aspire to. Claire has already four pairs actually. So that's a great start as well. And Philip has a completed set in the Pinzu, as well as almost one in the Sozu, and a pair to go with that as well.
Claire already Ishanten actually, and we are 2 discards in.
Wow. Starting off with a bang.
Now, I think there's some thought here about that one pin.
Mm-hmm.
Do you take the chance to shift towards a Honitsu in the Pinzu? Or do you keep the door acceptance, allow yourself to draw and make use of the Forso? Thought about it for a little bit and decided maybe the door acceptance is better and threw the one pin back.
Yeah, that would be you'd have to get rid of 3 tiles to
Right.
make that work too. So it's still early. Everybody's at the same point right now. I mean, the game has literally just started. So I don't think you try anything that drastic just yet.
Yeah, that does feel like a move more for a later position in the game. And hey, it rewarded with a Dora draw. So now you can go for Ricci, Pinfu, maybe Ipeko as well. Dora 1.
It's the right decision. The wall has validated you.
Yes. And sometimes the well doesn't validate you, but you still have made the right decision.
Right. It's all
Uh,
about making that decision.
right. Oh, that's a nice pickup for Travis. So this could be Tanyao, and I'm trying to make 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku happen in my head.
That could happen. There you
Oh,
go. There's your 7 for
well,
Manzu. All you
oh,
need is the
interesting.
6 for Sozu, and you've got it.
Yeah, it
We
drops the
see
6 mon here.
I don't think we see the 6 so come out of Philip's hand at this
Yeah, that
point.
seems pretty well locked in.
Yeah. Well, otherwise you could call Chi for that.
Yeah, I was thinking Travis might have wanted to discard the 8 pin, and that way you lock in the 5, 6, 7 pin shape, and you have a few more draws for Tempai in the Monzu. You get the 3 mon and the 5, 8 mon. This way you only have the 3 mon, and I'm not sure that 8 pin is helping you out too much. But I know Travis is definitely trying to find a way to lock in the Sanchoku. And there's a Ricci across the table from Claire. Ricci, Pinfu, Dora 1.
Impressive. And she's looking for the 3 or the 6 so. Pair of the 3s locked up in dealer's hand. And of course, that 6, as we mentioned before, pretty well locked up in Philip's hand. But still a lot left in the wall for this weight. With only 20 tiles to go, a good chance that we're going to see those come up.
Wonder how much Anwi's thinking about pushing this. I know they tend to be more of a defensive player. And there's so many Monzu there, you feel like maybe you have a chance.
Yeah, it's definitely inviting.
But chooses the safe, 100% safe 5 pin. And now the Haku are coming out as well. Philip draws a 3 so, but it looks like
Look at this
he's
change from, yeah, Philip's been changing up that end of the hand there. That shape with the Sozu. I think maybe
refuses.
might be trying to fold here.
Yeah, refusing to drop the 4 mon or the 3/6. So if you're really folding here, the 1 still looks pretty safe. You have Suji, and you have all the 1/7s back, so it's perfectly
Oh, but
safe.
drops the 3, and that's going to deal
Oh.
into Claire. For Ricci Pinfu,
A
right?
1.
Pinfu?
Yeah, that's
Dora
right.
1. There you go. 4,900 points.
39 plus
Start off.
get the stick back, so
Oh,
very
that's right.
nice. Yeah.
And again, another good early lead from Claire. Maybe not as big as the one last time, but that's definitely going to inspire some confidence as we move into East 2.
Ishan 10.
Already? Wow. For the dealer? Yeah. For
Yeah,
Tucker.
two Kanchan weights, so not spectacular, no value, but it's Ishan 10 on turn 2, so it's something.
And
Something.
you're
And you
going
can,
to
of course,
accept
maneuver
that.
this around to a Pinfu or something else.
Oh, absolutely.
There's even the chance to turn this into a 4/5/6 Sanshoku. Sorry, 5/6/7 Sanshoku, but maybe in 4/5/6 as well.
Well, 5/6/7. That's what we were looking at last time as well.
Right.
From the dealer. Meanwhile, Claire, well, an Anko of the 9mon, and some pairs to go along with it, and a set already in the Manzu as well. So that's also pretty close. Ryan Shanten, I believe.
Yes. Ishan 10 actually for Claire.
Oh, you're right.
Actually, it's
go.
Tenpai right
Tenpai.
now, but does she want this Tenpai? It's a con 8 pin for
She's
Richinomi.
going for it. And as we can see, though, those 8s are pretty well locked up in hands. We have a pair of them in Travis's hand and one in the sequence in Philip's hand right now. That leaves one left in the wall. But then again, an early reach is an early reach. She could be doing this to kind of get people to back off. This is my lead, you know.
Yeah, and maybe some psychological warfare as well. Philip had dealt in late in the hand to one of Claire's Reachies. Might be less inclined to do so now, even if he's got a hand that's worth fighting for, you know, having just had that painful occurrence. So perhaps that early reach just encouraging a fold here. Yeah. Do you take that Ricci here, or do you try to perhaps draw into another pair, and then go for Sananko or the South or something?
This is always that. I feel differently about that every day, but well, dropping that pair is going to be Richinomi for Claire, and she's going to take a further lead here.
Yeah, and there Travis had amassed a collection of Sozu, and so was probably thinking about building this massive Chinitsu hand. And if the first 8-pin passes, then the second 8-pin will pass, and there's the first 4-pin passes, and the second one will pass. So there was a world where that could have happened, but ended up dealing to a very cheap hand.
To answer your question before, I probably would have chased that myself, but that's just the kind of player I am. I like chaos.
Sure.
You know? So I would have leaned into that, but yeah, I could see plenty of arguments for trying to, you know, put your head down and maybe, just maybe, get a Suanko out of it.
Ooh, yeah. Now that would be the absolute chaos.
Yeah,
plan.
True, but that might be even more chaotic even for me. Anyway, it's East 3. The door is north, and speaking of chaos, look at Claire.
Oof.
Already a pair of them. With quite a lot of hand to go around it. Already a sequence finishing off there with 2 pairs already set in place. So already a great start for Claire. Philip, meanwhile, has a couple of sequences in Manzu. One just about completed in the Sozu. Oh, there's the Pinzu. There's 3 sequences. Ishan 10. Kind of choking me up. Here we go with Travis now. Has a pair of the Haku, as well as the Sozu. Oh, lots of pairs in this hand now that I'm really getting a look at it, so that could be interesting there. Tucker, also with a couple of pairs, but you've got 1, 2, 3 already in Manzu and Pinzu. 1 in Sozu. We might go for Sanshoku if things work out better. It's still a lot to go at this point.
Yeah, I love the vision from Philip when he drew into Ishan 10. Retained the 9-mon over the 6-so, as you can draw the 7 or 8 mon for Sancho. Sorry, not Sancho, Itsu, the straight in Manzu. So sees a path to a little bit of extra value. And if you draw something like this 2-so, you can still declare Ricci for Ricci Pinfu.
And there it is. Ricci looking for the 4-so and the 1-so. There's the 1-so. Doesn't really fit in this hand. Is Claire going to read this? And she does.
Finds a safe tile first, but she might end up pushing this with 2 Dora.
Ooh,
By the
picks up a
way,
third Dora.
yeah, there it goes.
And that'll be dealing in.
Pinfu, no Udon, so just the 2,000 points and the Ricci stick back. Tucker had also found Tempai as well in the 5/8, so I believe.
Oh, yes.
But the
that'll
one
keep Claire in the lead, as she already calls the tune, as we're seeing. We're seeing some pretty aggressive play from Claire tonight.
Well, she has 2 Dora in the hand, too. The 8 pins are there, so it makes absolute
absolutely.
sense to go aggressive here.
Yeah, 2 Dora again. Incredible. We also see 1 Dora in the dealer's hand right now, with 3 other pairs, so that can also turn into something rather quickly.
It's interesting that all the shapes are set. You have 2 sequences in the Manzu with the 3-4-5 shape. You have 2 sequences to the right in the Sozu, and the 4 pin is your pair, so you don't really need that Dora, but I'm sure Philip will try to make use of it as long as he can. Maybe even keeping it here. If you drop the 4 pin, you still are looking for a pair, and you can make that pair 8. But no, just plays it straight. And that means Claire's going to call it, and she's got a Mangan showing.
There you go. Dora triplet right there. So Philip knows it's time to kick this into high gear, calling that 4-5-6.
Absolutely. Had passed the 3 mon earlier, but once the door is visible, you can't wait anymore. You have to make your hand or start folding, and you don't really want to fold and let Claire win this. So let's just push this into overdrive.
Claire taking another step as well with that call of the 9-8-7.
Yeah, interesting. Claire headless here, no pair. Might end up on a Tonki, but Philip also chose to go headless. Could have discarded the 2 pin and the 3 pin, retaining the 4 pin pair, or the same thing once he drew the 3 pin. Instead, she thinks that the headless is the route to go as well.
Take a look at Tucker here with 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs. They're all rather close together, so you can make other things with them if you choose. But Claire's going to pick up that head now, waiting Tenpai on the 6 pin.
Oh, draws the last one. I was about to say there's only one left in the wall, but there it is, and that's 8,000 points. Philip eating half of that payment.
Wow.
As
Blows with Claire tonight, absolutely.
Yeah.
Moving to 41,500 points as we head to the half. It's South 1 now. The Dora is 4 mon. And the dealer's hand, which we're switching to right now, already an Anko of the South, switches the round wind, and that's already a good place to be in, especially if you want to hang on to that dealership. And look at the rest of this hand is pretty nice too. That's Shanten right there, with the Anko of the 6s. But
yeah, well, 2 away, but I wonder if Travis is going to go full greed and go for the Honitsu.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
There's
I can just
a
see
lot
a
of ways you
world.
could go full greed with this hand.
That's true.
That's for sure. Even if you get super lucky, there's certain other things you can be doing here.
There's something even greedier than Honitsu.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Haku comes out. Claire does not call, and that's the last Haku, so she's not going to call that ever.
I think we're going to Chitoy up here.
Yeah.
You see 5 pairs already, so she's going to take that Shanten wherever you can. Philip calling the Hatsu, and this looks like a pretty quick and easy just disarm the rest of the hands around the table kind of hand. Let's see Shanten now.
Travis has made the play for the Honitsu.
Look at the dealer. We got 3 Anko. San Anko. Still, you got to get a pair up on one of those to even think about Suanko, but that's it's a possibility now.
You call this.
Do you throw that on the wayside, though? And yep, you do. Going for Honitsu now instead.
Perhaps concerned with the Hatsu call that Philip might have Dora in that hand.
Mm. And I think that was the right call. Look at this pickup. Now you're 10 by, waiting on the 6 or the 3, which you have most of
Right.
already.
Yeah, that's a bit awkward,
You
but
can you can shift this around to something else fairly easily.
yeah, so
So I don't think he's too
interesting.
concerned about the slimness of this weight.
Yeah, an interesting discard there would have been the 6 so. You discard the 6 so, you have the 1-3-3-3 shape, and you're waiting on the 1 so and the 2 so there. But the 1 so is dead, so it's just the 2 so. I'm not sure that's. I think that's technically better because you can see so many of the 3-6s. The one benefit of this shape is it's pretty easy to shift out of this into something else.
Yes. But you need to draw something in the Sozu to do
Yeah.
that, and
A 4 or 5, 7, something like that.
yeah.
Really, you can choose any Tonki. You could even wait on an Honor
Mhm.
Tonki if you want. If you were to draw Dora, you could wait on Dora, hypothetically.
Meanwhile, Claire has hit the frustrating part of going for Chitoi, which is when your hand just completely stalls.
At this point, Claire collecting all these dangerous tiles that you can't discard against a Honitsu.
Exactly. Ooh, that could, well,
You can
well,
cheat
that'd
that
be,
with a 5-6, discard the 6, you're waiting 2, 5, and the 4.
he
So
probably wants to keep his hand hidden. Oh, but there's Claire picking up that last 6. What's she gonna do? Drops the north. Good call there. Looks like she's gonna fold out of this one.
yeah, and this is absolute safety. She was really pushing for a Chitoi. She could have just retained that and dropped, one of the other singletons like the 8 mod, but this way you're playing safe against everyone at the table.
Yeah, when you're in the lead, that's what you gotta do, especially with everybody beneath 30k right now. That's a lot of UMA for you.
Ooh, a
Be able
Dora
to hang
pickup for
on to that.
Philip. We'll
Ooh,
discard the 7. He's waiting on the 7 mod, by the way.
that's right. The 5 bond pickups there.
Yeah.
Speaking of stalled hands,
Travis is drawing dead here, unless
yeah,
Claire discards the 6, so we'll never be able to win. Now, this is an
there's the
interesting one.
7. And Tucker drops it. That's going to deal in to probably the least scary hand at the table. Only 2,000 points, but still a deal in there nonetheless.
That
That's
actually
going to put,
drops. Well, yeah, it puts
yeah,
Philip
by
all the way
just
in
100
third.
points.
Yeah.
Yeah. But take a look at second, third, and fourth here.
Within 400 points of each other.
Absolutely nuts.
Okay.
It's a fight for second, absolutely, right now.
Well, Anwi's got a hand worth fighting for. This looks like
Wow.
a Honitsu again in the Sozu.
Hmm.
It
Yeah,
doesn't have to be.
very easy to shift into it, though.
Yeah, there's a Dora Western hand. Now, once cut, Claire has discarded that as her first choice, and we see a second one from Philip. So maybe you don't need to be as greedy as you normally would with Honitsu and Dora. Possible. But yeah, looking around at the other hands, Claire to the right has okay shapes. All the shapes you need. Just need to fill in some kanchans there. Oh, and that 3 is a great pickup. Has a chance at 1-2-3 San Shoku now. We saw Anwi with the Pon of the Hatsu, and discards the Dora, not yet committed to the Honitsu just yet. But I imagine if there's one more good So draw.
Like that.
That's getting close to a
Well,
good So draw. It
it's enough to
confirms
drop
one
the
of your
Hatsu,
shapes. Yeah. If
which is already twice cut, so.
if they were to have drawn like a 2 So or 3 So, I think they might have pushed the 3 mon by mon. But confirming the shape, still leaving things open at this point. Philip might be aiming for. Oh, I was going to say Itsu, but it's Ishantan actually, so we'll probably just take the Richi. Especially if the So tile was drawn, that would fill the Diankan there. And then to the left, this looks like a fairly standard Richi hand.
Absolutely. Oh, that 4-mon. Yeah, I think Tucker's going to take the easy way to win here, especially now that Claire's calling Ricci. That's That is 10 pi for Tucker as well, I should mention. 4 and 7. And there's the 7!
All right.
Sumo only
So
gets the Hatsu no Mi, but that's 3,100 points. Not too shabby. And definitely going to take the lead in this crowded second place race, now knocking on the door of 30k. South 2 continues. The Dora is Chun, the red dragon. And we see an almost completed Ipeko right out the gate for Tucker right now. Just waiting on that Tuso. The rest of the hand leaves a bit to be desired, but that's a good start. Meanwhile, Claire, picking up the Dora just now, might be looking to incorporate that into her hand, but because the rest of this hand does not look too great right now. A lot of closed weights. You have an open one, but that's going to be difficult to work around. Philip, meanwhile, kind of the same story there, but you have 2 pairs, 3 pairs now, so work with those as you can. And on the left, we see, well, a good completed shape in the Pinzu now, and some Manzu starting to crop up there. But otherwise, you have a bunch of single honors that aren't doing anything right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, a big question here is what's going to happen with the Dora Chun. And as you pointed out, Claire and Philip both have 1 in hand. That hasn't changed since we've moved away. And it's always a little bit awkward to play the hand when a dragon is the Dora. Anyone could surprise you with a monster.
Yeah, turning a nothing hand into a Yaku with something, big something hand.
Thinking about Yaku that, let's say, our dealer might be able to put together. Ipeko was one I was thinking of at the start of the hand with the 1-2,
Right.
1-1-2-3-3 shape, but now 2 of the Tuso have been discarded, and so that seems a little unlikely. At this point, you've got 4 pairs. You might be thinking about Chitoi, although drawing this 3-mon again, you're sort of regretting your choices.
If you're
But
going for that, yeah.
technically that 1-1-2-3-3-5 shape is a 1-2-3 and a Yankan, so you don't have to force the Ipeko there. And you can still build towards a normal hand.
Taking a look on the left with Travis's hand, that's looking like Honitsu, but again, you've got all these honors that are diverse, but that's not really a strength in this case.
Well, yeah, interesting. Yeah, with the early 3-pin, I'm wondering if this is a Kokushi push.
Yeah,
There's
I mean,
only 1-1-mon left, but
yeah, I mean, that's what that's certainly plausible. I think that's exactly what he's going for. There's no honors or terminals discarded at this point.
that 4 so is a huge pickup for Tucker. Oh,
Interesting. So
yeah, I'm a bit surprised by that, but maybe this is maximum greed. Oh,
everyone's getting hit by the greed bug here. Oh, look at that. Yeah.
some more Sozu drawn.
Gonna go for Chinitsu here. Another honor picked up for Travis on the left. Another step towards Kokoshi.
Has all the wins and dragons, just needs 1s and 9s. So the 1 so.
Already 3 of the 1s have been discarded.
Yeah, 1 so.
There's the last 1,
mon.
so that closes the door on Kokoshi.
And at this point, I guess you're bailing because it's going to be very hard to make a Chitoi or Honitsu, which are usually your backup plans.
I mean, you've got about 6 draws left. Yeah, you just try to double up on those terminals and try to, go for that. A very powerful Chanta, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe show some concern for the hand on your right, which would be, at our perspective, Tucker's hand, the one in front of us. Yeah, maybe be a little bit careful discarding Sozu.
Except for that 1 on turn 2, who's gone no other Sozu discarded at this point. I'm curious why you'd want to do this as dealer other than pure greed at this point, but...
Well, let's talk about greed across the table. Philip, Richi, Pinfu, potential Sanshoku on the 7-mon, and Tucker is greeding.
That is going to play right into Tucker's hand, I was about to say, yeah. Now just needs to discard that 9-mon, and any one of these final draws could be what you need get to 10 pi, at least.
Desperately needs another so tile, but it's just not coming.
I don't think it's going to happen now unless you have some other calls right next to you.
Yeah, Claire's holding the 3, and the 6 is being held across the table, so we will enter New Kyoku. Philip will pick up the 3,000 points.
Which, in this case, is going to decide your placement here. That moves Philip up to 3rd place, very close to taking 2nd here as we move into South 3.
Claire is still with a big lead, and now Dealer.
The door is west, and we don't see that in Kanye West's hand. That's Claire's username, if you didn't catch that. But otherwise, a pretty nice hand here as well. We have a sequence already locked in with the Sozu and some other good shapes and pairs. Still some work to be done, but a good start nonetheless. Tucker calling the Souths pretty early on, looking to sail their way above 30K.
I like that.
That just came to me. But yeah, but I mean, the rest of that hand is certainly aerodynamic, if you will, continue the analogy. Has some good pairs there, good shapes rather, in the Pinzu, and picked up a great one for the Manzu just now. Ooh,
Claire
picking
10.
up. Yeah,
it has a quiet con, not yet revealing that she has all 4 of the North winds. A lot of players will con from this position from Ishanten.
Might be waiting to get to 10 pi so you can chance it on a Rinshan pickup. But now, with that call from Tucker, we have East. East is the Tonki weight now, and there's East! Tucker's going to call that.
And Claire, the decision to not con means no new Dora tiles for Tucker to potentially increase the value here. So they will just get over 30,000, and
what I say.
Yeah.
Sailing above 30K. As we move into all last, we have, Claire still pretty safely in the lead at this point, but Philip can certainly make some waves here, especially calling that East right out the gate. But the rest of this hand is unfortunately not going to be too helpful, except for that pair of Manzu. That's not got a lot of work to do to make that make sense. Meanwhile, looking around the table, Travis has a good shape in the Manzu going on there, as well as some other shapes in the other ones. A lot of good tiles close together, so that's looking good there. Tucker has a pair of the Norths, as well as some good sequences in the Pinzu. And on the left in Claire's hand, some good sequence shapes already locked in there, as well as a pair or 2 or 3. And Philip calling that 789, and Claire responding in kind. We're seeing a lot of aggressive calls from this table tonight.
Yeah, both players have a lot of incentive to go quickly. Philip, of course, wants a Dealer repeat, and Claire wants to just end this. Is looking for the North. Actually, interesting from Philip's perspective, drew into potential Chanta, and in fact, will not get there because the 6 is called instead of the 9 mon. But Tempai on the 2 pin. Yeah. Oh, wait,
and
it
there
comes
it
right
is! Now. Not a big hand, but it's going to keep you in the game and keep us moving here. Moving up to 27,300. Very close to taking 2nd here if they do it again. But here we go. Ooh,
interesting Dora discard.
South, and that's the Dora right away. But you look at this hand, you kind of see why. You've got 2 sequences locked in already. Possible pure straight if you want to go that route. So definitely playing for speed here, I think.
Yeah, perhaps thinking that the door is only going to slow him down if he had it in hand. But I think you have all the shapes. You're missing a pair here. So pairing up a Dora is not a bad thing. And also there's maybe a world where you go for Honitsu, in which case the Dora is certainly helpful for that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, grabbing the Chun Anko already is amazing. So it really increases your value if you declare Ricci, and you can now open your hand if you sense pressure from the rest of the table and you feel the need to speed things up. By the way, across the table, Tucker has just paired up the Dora, so maybe discarding it first was not a bad idea. And this is a little bit dangerous. If Travis discards the South, then there will be a visible Mongon across the table.
Philip calling Khan on the tune now to get some extra points flowing here. The new Dora is 8 so. We don't. I do see that in Travis's hand as part of an edge weight there, but it's going to be. It's one thing you can make out of this hand. A good way to make a splash right at the end. Oh, that shape. That 3 so is going to complete a sequence right there. So good going there.
Yeah, you just wonder how long that door is going to be held in hand. Because Tucker is getting close. Ishanten actually. With good
Yeah.
weights on all sides. Oh, there's a 7 so for
Ooh.
Travis.
So that Dora is not coming out.
Not just yet. Oh, drops this pair. So it's never coming out, I don't think. You only make that discard if you are planning to use that South forever.
Hmm. But I mean, you do have the Dora 8 so as well, so looking to maximize on that. But meanwhile, Philip is getting ready to convert yet again here. 3-sided weight, I believe,
Yes.
on the 1, 4, and the 7. Tucker calling Ricci.
3-sided as well. South and 4 so 7 so.
Wow. 2 Ricci's like this is going to go quick.
Claire has that 7 so just sitting out there. Cannot discard it. You cannot deal that into your direct competition.
Philip's switching things up here a little bit. Now the 3 and the 6 are the weight. Probably doing that out of safety.
Yes. 4-pin was definitely safer than the 6.
Yeah.
Ooh, but do you push this form on?
Hmm.
It's so scary because with 2 indicators, even if the hand is Ricci Nomi, you could be dealing into as much as 5,200 or more,
Ooh,
and that would knock you all the way down to 4th.
We have another Ricci called by Travis. He's looking now for the 2.
The South.
Sorry, the
Travis is,
South.
yeah, South Tonki. Dora Tonki had committed to this from the start.
Doing it all for the Dora.
Unfortunately, we'll never win that hand as the final Souths are in Ennui's hand across the table. By the way, Ennui's weight is dead now as well.
That's true.
Except for the 7 so in Claire's hand. That is the only tile that can come out and deal in. So really, the only player who has the best chance of winning is Philip.
That 7 is going to get a little bit tighter in the hand now. Oh, especially now. Man, that shape just came together out of nowhere.
That the tiles want Claire to fight for this, but she refuses to discard the 3, 6, 9 pin shape. And she's right to do so. 3, 6 would deal in. Instead finds the safe Manzu. Oh, and there's another 3.
I feel like, well, I was going to say the 9 looked safe, except for the fact that the 8 was the reach tile there.
Yeah, I think that might be a big consideration here. Haku cleared by Travis, so that's another safe tile for Claire. There's no way she finds Tempai at the end of this, is there?
Ooh. Stranger things have happened at this very table. But now we're getting to the end, so probably not. In fact, she's probably going to call it here.
Falls just 1 tile short of Tempai. So 3 players, we keep going. This game is not over yet, and that actually has massive implications because Claire is the one who pays out the 3,000 points of no-10 payments. So everyone else moves up, Claire moves down, and we only get closer together up at the top.
Wow. Now Travis, or rather Philip, is now just 1 Mangan away from getting into the lead. And you could do that with this hand. The Dora is 1 Mon. You've got 1 already. You got an Anko of the 8 pin, though. And, well, that's... You need a little bit of help here for this hand, but that's looking like a good start.
Yeah, pair up a Dora, draw around your 4 pin and your 6 so, and you've got it.
And there's your another 4 pin right there. Travis, meanwhile, a lot of good shapes in the Sozu right now. Good stuff coming together in the Pinzu as well. That's looking competitive. Tucker, on the other hand, has some good sequences forming right there. And there's another sequence already set up. I believe that's Ishanten now.
2 away, 2 away.
Oh, 2 away. Claire calling the 1, 2, 3 to move this hand, which already has the Haku in. This is the perfect hand to just shut this game down, which is exactly what she needs to do right now to keep this lead that is slowly dwindling away.
Pair drawn for Ennui puts that hand into Ishanten. For Pinfu.
Up for the dealer.
Yeah, that is excellent.
Wow.
So dealer as well, Ishanten. And the hands are coming together now. It's a race. Who will get there first?
What a finish. Do not leave your seats, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else.
Yeah, Claire seeking ahead right now, but has a lot of options. Might even end up Tonki if you draw the 5 pin. But if you draw the 3 pin, then you can discard the 6 for the 1/4 pin weight, which is, of course, excellent. And she doesn't need the value. She doesn't need to fight for Chanta or anything like that. She can just take the widest, most efficient weight and claim first place.
Yeah. Haku no Mi is all she needs here. That's a good pickup with the 7.
Still headless here. That's not a bad draw for Philip either. Gives you a few more tiles to draw for Tempai.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she doesn't have the luxury of dropping one of the white dragons in order to get... Oh, well, there's your head. There you go. Tenpai, if you drop the 6. Oh, it decides not to.
Yeah, the Ricci from Tucker pushes it away, and it's a Ricci Pinfu waiting on the 2/5 pin.
There you go.
3 left in the wall.
And the 5 pin just drawn, but that looks pretty at home in this hand. Oh, gotta drop it anyway, though.
Yeah, that was Ishanten and too many pairs, so it came out. Deals into the Ipatsu, Ricci Ipatsu Pinfu for 3,900. Anwi will pick that up, as well as the sticks in the middle, and that will be 100 points shy.
Oh my gosh. Like, that was the same separation I saw from Philip and Claire going into that hand. Wow. 100 points, but sadly a 10-point UMA difference.
It's actually insane. I remember looking earlier at our original, I think it was the first hand in the South Four. I believe there was an 8,100 point gap between Tucker and Claire, so a Mongon was not enough. And even now, after the Ricci sticks and the no 10 payments and the the Homba, still 100 points shy. And so a little unfortunate for Tucker there, but I'm sure they'll be pleased to pick up a positive finish here. Makes up for the negative 5.6 in the last game, and then some.
And we're seeing tons of support for Claire, aka Kanye, in the chat right now, and definitely a well-played finish there. Well played all across this table, if we're being quite honest. Claire picking up 20 points, Tucker 10 points, Philip losing 6, and Travis losing 24. Again, look at how close all this is. Last place above 20k, first place below 40k. I mean, that's just game 2. We're going to see more of a pretty big fight in these last 2 games. And that's even in the face of some pretty strong flow from Claire early on.
Absolutely. Claire, in both games, jumped out to an early lead, and the other players fought back, but she did manage to hold on to it in the end. Very strong defensive play. What comes to mind is that, not this past round, but the round before, where 3 players were Tempai and fighting, and Claire managed to dodge all of them, despite drawing continuously the winning tiles for those hands. And so, very well done by Claire. Much deserved first place. In fact, 2 first places in 2 games, finishing with, I want to say, around 30, 40, about plus 40 for Claire. So that will actually jump her into the promotion, I'm assuming, unless something drastic has happened outside of this.
I am pretty sure she would. So yeah, there we go. That is an impressive finish there. Absolutely. We are having a few technical difficulties with the leaderboards and the stats right now, but we'll be getting that worked out. And of course, you can follow all of the developments when they do get sorted out at AmericanRicci.org.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that we had heard that it was not an issue with the bots that are our own bots that are computing these things, but rather it's just a 10 issue as a whole. So I do have a rough estimate based off of my memory of the first scores and the results of these. I believe Claire is around plus 40. Philip is almost 0.0. I think he's like 0.4 ahead. Tucker moved up about 5 points, and Travis has dropped about 40 points. So Claire picks up 40, and the other 2 stay around the same. That means that Claire will be, along with Philip and Tucker, in the promotion zone area. I think because Philip stayed around the same and Tucker moved up a little bit, Tucker will surpass Philip. So it will be Claire 8, Tucker 9, and then Philip a close 10 after all is said and done here. So a very tight race for the promotion zone in V1.
Impressive. Well, I'm seeing in the chat right now that A11 is about to start in a little bit here.
Okay, yeah. So I know
A1 matchup.
there is an A1 match that has been in progress, but another one is looking to start soon. So we'll probably catch the new one, the one that has yet to begin, but that will be a little bit before then. So perhaps we'll take a quick break and we'll come back with some A1 action.
Don't go away. And welcome back, everybody, to the ARML Thursday night. I'm Blaine Singletary along with Nathaniel, and we're getting ready for some A1 action here with Jeremy, our broadcast colleague, as well as Luce, Andre, or Hanem Andre, and Oliver getting set to go here in this matchup to really fight to get out of the demotion range here. And Nathaniel, this is a division we've been noting a lot just because of that canyon between 10th and 11th place, as you can see on the leaderboards here.
Absolutely. There's a huge jump between Arthur and Eric in 10th and 11th, and it really has some interesting implications, I guess, on the play styles you'll have here. Luce, of course, the only player in the positives, is fighting for that top spot, even though it's a bit far away at this point. At the very least, hoping to stay positive, and is very likely to do so. But Jeremy, Oliver, and Andre all trying to avoid promotion. And you can see my name just above Jeremy's. I'm also in that range, trying to avoid demotion. And I'm quite interested to see how they'll play this because relative placement is going to be incredibly important between these three players. And of course, you want to be hitting your opponents directly, knocking them lower as you raise yourself up. Especially if you are sitting in Andre or Oliver's seat, you want Jeremy to be finding fourth places as you yourself find first places to climb out of this hole and knock somebody else below you.
You're probably not gonna see anybody cross into 10th unless something miraculous happens in the next two sessions. So it's really just fighting for those two spots that are not in the demotion zone on this side of the canyon.
Yeah, six players fighting for two slots. It's going to be a battle.
Yeah, and that battle begins now as we go to this match. It is East 1. Our first dealer is Luce. The door is 4 Mon. We see one of those in this dealer's hand. And some other good shapes here as well, with a pair and a shape, an open weight right now for them as well. Jeremy right now, 2 pairs in Sozu right now, and a completed set in the Pinzu, as well as a pair in the Manzu as well. So pretty nice starting there. Andre has a good sequence set in stone as well. Some other encouraging shapes getting ready to come together there. And Oliver has a great presence of the Pinzu right now, able to drop that Chun, which Luce picks up right away.
Yeah, Luce grabbing the Chun, hoping for a dealer continuance, and does need to fill a bunch of these Kanchan shapes, but does have a door in hand, so 2,900 points is not bad if you get to go again. Jeremy might be thinking about just making Tanyao here, retaining the North and the Haku in hand, even though that doesn't fit a Tanyao. Perhaps concerned about safety at this point. The hand may be too far to push forward too aggressively.
In the second row, absolutely. Has a Dora in hand as well, as I believe you just mentioned. And there's a West. So, there's dropping the North now, so...
Yeah, 2 calls from Luce. Probably, if not Tenpai, Ishanten. And that is the case here. Ishanten, with now a better weight, 5-8 pin, will prove the hand for Luce. Also, Toyman, Hanemandre's hand across the way is Ishanten right now.
A wider Ishanten now.
Yeah, very wide. And that is one of the tiles that will give you Tenpai. So we'll see a Richi Pinfu waiting on the 3-6 So.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's the 6. I say you drop the North now. Yeah, that looks absolutely safe.
Dodge the Ipatsu turn. Maybe if you find Tenpai, you'll push the 6.
Calls it, and now he's going to drop the 6, and that'll be an early loss in this case.
But a win of 2,000 points for Andre across the table, and will move us to East 2.
The door is 6 So, and the dealer has one of those in hand. It's all by its lonesome, though. We're seeing some good shapes in the other suits as well at the moment, along with a pair of those Norths again creeping up and causing mischief. Andre has a good shape in the Pinzu, as well as Sozu as well. And Oliver has some already completed sets in Pinzu, as well as a couple pairs here and there. Over on the left, Loose has a completed set in the Manzu, but that's about it for this hand. Well, that 9 will help things, but otherwise has a lot of work ahead of her.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the dealer's hand, and this 7 so is a huge pickup. There's a potential for a lot of value here. At minimum, Pinfu, reach Pinfu Dora 1, but there's Sanchoku chances. You can even shift this to Tanyao with some good draws. And yeah, I really like dealer's hand. Toyman also not too bad, and Loose has the ability to call to push his hand forward, but not a lot of value there.
Loose
We haven't.
picking up an Anko of the 6 pin.
Yeah, so this is technically Ishanten.
Mm-hmm. Good
Yeah,
seeing a
Jeremy
Peiko from Jeremy here.
commits to dropping the 1-3 shape. Ishanten now for Jeremy.
Ooh, good pickup.
And I,
Good pickup across the way as well, but well, somewhat more of a neutral.
yeah, Loose trying to decide whether or not to drop the 5 so now or later. Chooses the 2 pin for now. Um, probably thinking, the 8-9 so shape is so awkward. I really would prefer to draw the Dora and swap out the 8-9 for a 5-6.
Right.
But the later you go, the more dangerous it is to hold in hand. And so, gosh, how long do you hold on to this? And it might be too late now, as we see a Richi from Jeremy. Not the Sanchoku, not the Pinfu, just Richi Nomi. Richi Dora 1, rather.
Waiting on the 4 and the 7 pin.
And we can
You
see
see a
not many
lot
of those left. In fact, only 2 7 pin in the wall.
And those are all locked up tight in the hands. I don't think we're gonna have any. I don't think we're gonna see those getting thrown out.
Interesting, though, Oliver across the table has drawn the Anko of the Chun is now Ishanten, headless Ishanten.
Ooh, dropping that 8 pin though might have been the wrong open weight to choose here.
I'm not convinced Oliver is still going to push the 7 here. Oh, I didn't notice Loose had, in fact, drawn the 7 so, but had already chosen to discard the Hatsu pair. In fact, it did not
No,
either pass the call or did not have the opportunity to call the Hatsu that came out from Jeremy. So this is Ishanten for Loose. Probably willing to push the 9 Mon if Tempo was found, but I'm not sure about the 5, so.
Well, now you pick up the pair of the 9 Mon.
Yeah, that's awkward. And in the end,
Deciding
decides
not to.
yeah. And so we see that decision to hold on to the 5 so a while ago ended up not paying off in this instance, but who's to say that in another hand, another rendition of this hand, Loose picks up a Dora and has a monster herself. So.
And Jeremy taking all the no-10 payments here for what is still a close game in the early goings here in East 2. We move on now. The Dora is 9 Mon, and Jeremy's going to hang on to that in this hand. Otherwise, you got some good shapes in the other suits as well, with a pair of the Wests and some other honors just hanging out, doing nothing right now, but we'll see what happens there. Andre right now has a tough road ahead of him, but a couple pairs here. Can maybe make some magic with those. Actually, 3 pairs now. Oliver has some good shapes at the moment, but has a little. I'm not seeing anything immediately jumping out at me. You might see something yourself, Nathaniel. But on the
Nothing.
left,
It looks just like a Ricci.
yes, and with that Anko of the ones, that's looking more and more of a possibility for sure. On the left, in Loose's hand, we're seeing pretty good shapes there as well with the pair. And that's about it.
At the initial glance, nothing looked absolutely fantastic. Looked like everyone had some work to do in building the hands. And it might be one of those where some of the players end up thinking about Chitoy, for example. Hanamandre on the right now has 4 pairs, but can also turn this to Tanya or a normal hand, so it doesn't have to be Chitoy just yet. It looks like he's thinking about Tanya right now. And Toyman Oliver probably had the best start, but is still 2 away from Tempai, and doesn't have a lot of value to go with this.
Hmm.
Now another pair.
Yeah. Possibly looking to Cheetoy, as you were saying.
Yeah,
Might be
if you'd kept the 7,
your.
so you'd definitely be thinking about that. But now that that's been discarded, the 8
Mhm.
goes as well, and Chitoy no longer works here.
But I think that might be at home in Loose's hand, perhaps? Well, not quite. Well, you've got 4 pairs.
Yeah, I think
So,
Jeremy as well, 3 pairs. Probably
oh,
Jeremy is leaning towards the 789 Sanshoku.
Jeremy picking up the Haku, though. So, hey, you can still go for Sanjoku here. Be the quickest finish. But Hanemandre now, Tenpai on the 2 and 4 so.
Not quite a Hanemon this time, but no, Tanyao, let's move things forward. Grab the Ricci stick and a home pay 300.
One of the 4 is still left in the wall. As well, none of the 2s. So now you're just hoping you grab that one lucky tile.
And Jeremy can't use it either, so you sort of have 2 drawing pools for it. Oh, you can switch the weight to 2-5.
Hmm.
So here.
I'd go for it, and that's exactly what he's going to do too.
So there's actually 3 of the 5 cells in the wall. This does increase the number of winning tiles possible to be drawn for Andre.
That definitely changes the complexion of this for sure.
I was
But they're going
wondering
to
if,
drop the 2 anyway. Get
yeah,
that
so
3
it
pickup.
does make the swap. And it's just a fairly cheap hand, 1,000 plus the home bar.
But that cheap hand is enough to take the lead now, with Andre moving into first as we head into East 3, where he's also dealer. The door is the 8 so, and we see a couple pairs already set, sequence already locked in there with the Pinzu. Oliver, meanwhile, we see a couple pairs there, and that's about it,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
oh,
A
there's a
lot of work to
sequence.
do. There's a sequence, yeah, you're right. Loose, good presence in the Manzu right now. Some good encouraging shapes. You got that Hatsu in there as well. And Jeremy, we have an Anko of the 3 so, as well as some other closed weights at the moment, but we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, the best hand probably dealer here. Jeremy is kind of interesting because it sort of wants to be Tanyao, but then you have an 8-9 mon shape and an 8-8-9 pin shape. So it would take some maneuvering to be able to make Tanyao out of that.
Oh, that's true.
Loose, of course, with the opportunity to call the Hatsu. Has a little bit of advantage of speed there.
Not seeing any Dora come out yet. It's not like they'd really. Well, we see one. I take that back. There is one in Oliver's hand.
Yeah, it's that awkward 8
Close.
or 9 being the Dora, and you need the 7 in your 8-9 Penchon.
Those edge weights, man. They smart. But a quick call from Andre, and that's going to send him to Tenpai, waiting on the 3 so, which, unbeknownst to him, is all sitting in Jeremy's hand, except for one. Deja vu all over again. With
Well,
one in the wall.
if we've learned anything from watching Claire play, as long as there's one tile, you're good.
Thin draw or no draw, you've got it. Well, I guess no draw, you don't got it.
Oh, well, speaking of draws, Loose picks up
Ooh.
a Dora. That's Isha. Yeah, it is Ishanten.
Loose not taking the Hatsu here. It was just
Oh,
dropped by Jeremy.
didn't. That's interesting.
There's still one left, but who knows where that's at. Again, thin draws. But
Yeah, well, could have been Tempai for the Dora
yeah,
shape.
I'm not
Or
sure
maybe that
why you
happened
would.
before the Dora was drawn.
True, might be
It
wanting
would
to
that make
angle more
that would
than
make
that.
you're only fighting for 1,000 points if you call there.
Mm,
But if it was after the Dora was drawn, I wonder if she wants to be really greedy and fight for a little bit more.
yeah. But that's not really what the situation demands in this case, unless you really just want to surprise everybody. Which this is one way to do it, I suppose.
Yeah, there's a Ricci. Puts pressure.
Ricci. Yeah. If we're looking for the 5-pin, one is discarded, so it looks relatively safe. But these 5s look fairly secure in these hands, so I don't see them coming out. Ooh, especially with that 6 pickup.
Yeah, the worry would be for dealer if they were to draw 5, but it's actually fine because then they can discard a 2-pin and still maintain their tempi.
I think this is a just trying to keep other people away from winning this hand, just securing that the no 10 payments here.
And it's also a Ricci +1, which has the potential to be Mangan. You know, Ricci, Dora, Tsumo, Ura. That's a Mangan right there.
Mm-hmm.
And even if there's no other bonuses, 2600 is not bad. Could switch to a Tonki here if Andre doesn't like to discard the 3, but seems fine with the Suji and all the 2s and 1s that have been discarded so far. And looks like we'll find Yukioku unless the last tile is the 5. And it's the Dora. Well, that's scary,
Ooh.
but...
Tosses it right back. Of course you have to, because it was Ricci. But yeah, there you go. Securing a little bit of the no 10 payment, but so does the dealer, so we are continuing on East 3. The door is now 1 Mon. That could fit in this hand fairly well, but we see some other good pairs and shapes in this hand to go along with it. Got to be a little bit of work to do there, but we'll get back to that. Oliver, meanwhile, look at the Sozu here. That's looking very encouraging.
Very green.
Very green.
Oh, until the 5 was drawn. It looks like it's going to be a Tanyao.
Or, yeah, or if you want to go full greed, I mean, you are in last, but not by much. You could go for a flush of some sort. Meanwhile, Loose picking up an Anko of the 2-pin just now to go with a couple of shapes and pairs there. Looking good. Similar story with Jeremy. Anko of the 8 Mon as well as a couple pairs, and a good open weight there and a closed weight to go along with it. So, all in all, pretty nice footing for him. He's going to call that 6, 7, 8 to move a step closer.
Ooh, that's a beautiful draw. Fills in the Kanchan. Now Tempai only would win on the Hatsu, of course. Oh, and there's a reach from Oliver. Those draws came together quite well. And this is the 147, I believe. Yeah, Ricci, Pinfu, 147. Wow.
That's quite the weight to have there.
That's interesting.
We're going to throw out the Hatsu.
Oh, it's an unlucky draw.
Yeah.
Well, lucky for Jeremy, though, picks up a couple thousand there with the Ricci stick and then the hand itself.
Mm-hmm.
It was still super tight, though.
Yeah, but you're in a good spot. Yes, you are in a good spot if you're Oliver right now as we move to East 4. The door is north and in that dealer's hand, which we will switch perspectives to momentarily. We see a couple of pairs already, as well as a good sequence already locked in of the Sozu. We'll just move to the hand across loose. We have some good pairs there and some honors, but well, not a whole lot else happening right now. Jeremy on the left, good presence of the Pinzu at the moment. We see some open weights there that can be pretty quickly filled in. And Andre,
who's now on our left,
just called the Easts, I believe, during that transition, I believe.
Nice.
And other than that, though, has some work cut out for him. Got some edge weights and some closed weights right now. That pair might help things, though.
It could, yeah. And that's a great draw for Oliver as well. You have a chance to be Peiko now. So this is Ishan 10 for Reach, Pingfu, potentially Peiko for the dealer. The rest of the hand's not looking amazing, although interesting to the right, Loose has, of course, the south pair, which is Yakuhai and a Dora north. I wonder if we might have some Dora shenanigans. It looks like a hand that could be pretty straightforward to play. You don't need to use the Dora, especially with this fill-in of the Mon shape here. But it really looks like Loose is not willing to accept a hand that doesn't have value. So either she's going to draw into the pin shape and have a Ricci, or she's going to call the south and wait on Dora Tonki potentially. Or just draw the door yourself. Okay, the 2-4
Yeah.
I assume is leaving. 4-2
There's
will
the 4
discard in
he
that
has.
order. And yeah, now you're pretty pleased to call the second south if it comes out. South door 2 is fine, or just draw to Tempai and declare the Ricci.
There you go. Shanpon waits on the south and the north. We see that one north in Jeremy's hand. If I'm Jeremy,
Oh,
I'm not letting go of that, but he's going to drop the 6-mon. That's going to deal into Hanemandre for anything but a Haneman, but points nonetheless. Moving us into the half, it's South 1.
Luz had been so patient on that door and had drawn into this massive hand, and then Andre sped things up and ended it before it could get expensive.
Absolutely.
Or before it could get painful, rather.
Right. The door is now 8 pin, and that will fit nicely in this hand from the dealer for loose. I'm seeing some good pairs, some good closely knit tiles. We'll see what happens there. A little bit of work to go there. Jeremy, meanwhile, see a couple of pairs, or rather 3, and a completed sequence in the Manzu. We'll look over at Oliver's hand over on the left, just calling the Hatsu. Except for the 2, 3, 4 and the Manzu, that's about all this hand has going for it. Well, there's a pair, so get lucky with some draws, and you might just see that convert. Andre has an Anko of the 1-mon at the moment, across, and some good shapes there, picking up a pair of the Wests, which is the seat that he is in.
I wonder about Jeremy's hand here. It has 4 pairs, but you really don't want to make a pair-based hand out of this. Are you willing to just call the Haku and go for a cheap hand? And now that you've drawn Dora, what do? It doesn't fit the hand at all. Decides to discard the pairs and hopefully draw around that Dora. But even if you end up not being able to use the Dora, you're probably going to drop this pair anyway. So it's not the worst situation. Probably a good decision.
Oliver's picking up the pair of the Dora there, though.
Oh, so this, with the open hand and the value already, could be expensive.
Absolutely.
I might even consider dropping the 6-pin sooner rather than later.
Just go for the Anko, or make that your pair. You're Tenpai now, waiting on the 3-pin.
And Jeremy has found a path to both use the Dora and the 3 pins. So
Dealer picks up the 3-pin. Probably not looking to drop that right now.
yeah, dealer's hand looks so far away from anything worth fighting for. After 2 calls, probably just willing to fold here.
Yeah.
Even after completing the shape. Oh, okay.
Oh, gonna drop it anyway.
A little bit more expensive than Loose wanted. So
3,900 points.
Yeah, we're gonna look at Loose's hand in a second. It looks quite nice as a starter, but dealer.
That looks pretty nice too.
What,
the door is east, and you've got one. So what were you pointing out with the dealer?
There were so many honor tiles. I was about to count for Kokshi, but then the West was discarded first, and it's a shame to waste your dealer's hand going for a Kokshi that's unlikely to complete.
No,
and it might just be unlikely to complete because Andre on the right has already called the Haku, and it is Ishanten for a cheap but extremely fast hand, and it's an incredibly wide Ishanten that's headless right now. And Toyman as well, not too far off, has lots of sequence type shapes in the So and the pin tiles, and is only a couple tiles away from declaring Ricci there. And of course, back to Loose's hand on the left, Ishanten. Could have called for Tenpai there, but wants more.
Yeah, you've got Ipeiko just about in the bag. You could even go for Rion Peiko if you really get greedy.
There is a world where that happens. And here's the Tenpai for Andre. Not quite the best Tenpai, just the 7-pin, but it's Tenpai nonetheless.
Speaking of Ipeiko, looks like Jeremy is getting close to one here.
Yeah,
possibly even Shanta.
Would be sweet. I would see one of the ones So is out. I'm wondering if he's willing to call the final 2-mon, because we could see 3 have been discarded already.
which would invalidate a Peico, but you're a dealer, so you don't necessarily need a Wombo combo right at this moment.
Yeah, I think that's a fine decision because if the one so doesn't, oh, actually, there's only one so remaining, but just draw it.
There's your
Okay.
Peico. Yeah. Gonna call Ricci now, dropping that one.
Oh,
Oh! But immediately, 7-pin picked up by Andre, and that's gonna end this hand abruptly, moving into South 3.
the Richie stick donation always feels so sad.
Oh, it's a
And
negative Ipatsu. That's what I like to
having
call it.
played with Andre quite a few times, he always seems to do that to me. I'll finally get Tenpai to clear the Ricci, and Andre will sumo and steal my stick away. It just happens so frequently. When I see his name, I'm not surprised.
Hmm. Speaking of Andre, take a look at this dealer's opening hand. The door is 4 mon. We don't see that here. It could very easily fit, though. Anko of the 9 mon, pair of the 8 mon, also pair of the 2 mon. That could become something pretty big indeed. But then you look at Oliver's hand. Anko of the Hatsu, and already 2 pairs to go along with that.
One of those pairs being the Dora pair.
Absolutely. Looking a little scary there. And loose up top, we have a good presence of the Pinzu with a lot of tasty looking sequences all kind of together right now. And Jeremy with a good 1, 2, 3 sequence in Sozu and some good pairs and shapes forming up there as well.
Andre has found Ishanten here. Even a chance at Sananko.
That's right.
Would need to draw the last 3 mon, which is impossible actually because it's across the table. So forget the Sananko, but does find Tenpai and maybe take
Gonna make
the
you think you can get Sananko, but
yeah
he's gonna
right.
go and call Ricci here.
It's actually a little bit of a tough decision whether to take the Dora Kanchan Ricci or the Shampoo Wait with the Suji Trap and the potential Sananko. I think if it was just a Suji Trap, he would have taken the Dora Wait, but because you also have the Sananko chance, he chose to discard the 5. We see Tenpai to the right, though, on the 5-8. So, 5-8 so for Oliver. And it is that Hatsudora 2. Luce has been drawing these winning tiles, but dodging so far. Oh, but this isn't going to dodge.
Automatically drops that 8 so, and that's going to be 4,900 points to Oliver. As we head into all last for a very close game yet again. Nothing but close games on this broadcast tonight. It's crazy.
It seems the points have always been moving to the player to the right.
That is true. I noticed that. The Dora is 4 mon. That could fit in this hand. We see in this dealer's hand, a good sequence already set in the Pinzu. Picking up a pair to go with another 1 or 2, if you want to count it that way. In Luce's hand, we have an Anko of the 7 so, and some other good, potentially rewarding shapes. A sequence in Manzu already set up as well.
Very good hand.
That's where you drop that Chun in that situation. Jeremy has a little bit of work here to do, but
actually, Jeremy looks quite good, right?
I see it.
I mean, this is Ishanten.
It is okay. From first glance, it did not, but then I looked at it a little bit closely, like, oh yeah, oh that's a very close to Pinfu.
Yeah,
right there with Adora.
That's quite good. Yeah.
Also, Adora in Andre's hand. Good sequence there as well. Good couple of sequences. This is looking. This is going to be a real nail biter to see who can pull off the points here on this final hand, especially as Luce calls Ricci. Looking for the 3 and the 6. 2 3s already in Luce's hand. And Jeremy calling Reach as well. Looking for the 9 pin and the 2 so.
No fear, fighting for it all.
Andre picking up that 6 so, though. No, wait, that wasn't a pickup.
Has it in hand, though, and that's looking scary.
It looks like a pickup for how out of place it is, and kind of hang on to it, though, wisely, I might add. Could even make something if you pick up the 5, but I don't know. I think if I'm Andre, I'm just going to try to hang on to my lead here. Oliver calling the 3 4 5 to try to get some Tenpai action himself.
Yeah, it's odd. The safest tile for Andre there was actually discarding Dora, but Oliver calls that and then grabs the 3 pin as well for Tenpai and the 4 7s pin.
Here it goes.
Free tempi here. Andre, the player in first, trying to dodge all of these hands.
Very much a lot of pressure on him right now.
Starting to count tiles. Jeremy has 3 left in the wall.
Picks up the 3, so...
Oh, there's a 9.
Oh!
And that goes into Jeremy across the table for Richie Dora 1. No Uda, but that is
That's
enough
going to give him the lead and the win in this game. Jeremy finishing with plus 20, almost 21 points. Andre getting up 6 points. Oliver losing 5, and Luce losing 24.7. But again, a very close game. In fact, these results are very similar to the the A2 game we were just watching.
The one we just saw with Claire's table,
Yes.
where she won first place a couple times. Yeah, that B1 matchup was quite intense in the final hands as the scores were very tight. This one as well. And Jeremy, with a chasing reach on an awkward wait, does manage to pull it out in the end.
There's a very specific kind of energy at these tables we're looking at, I would say. And I believe they have already started and are getting underway. So with that 5-minute break, 5-minute delay rather, they will be getting started here in just a few minutes.
Yes. I should have taken a moment to write down the scores.
I believe Tenno still having some technical difficulties this evening, so we won't quite see the scores update just at the moment.
Yeah, we'll probably not have the updates until maybe even not tonight.
Jeremy got 20 points, though. So just looking at the scores here, that's going to take him out of the demotion range.
Yes.
Sure. That's going to put him at the on the edge of the cliff of this side of the canyon, as I was mentioning before, over Eric, who's in the chat. Hello, Eric. And let's see, as far as Oliver and Andre, I believe it was Andre got second, so that's going to give him a little bit of a bump out of that sadly pretty deep deficit he's in right now of negative 235. That might get him up to about negative 220, I would say.
I think it was like a plus 9-ish.
So it's really just kind of going to even the gap between himself and Oliver. And then Luce.
Luce was on the negative side of this, but it was only a minus 20 something, so still around 40, 41 perhaps.
Yeah, and might switch places with Max here. Or Bishen.
Still pretty comfortably positive, and that's the important part at this point. With this week's worth of games and the next week in the snake session, it is possible to challenge for first place, but very difficult. So I'm assuming that if you're in Luce's seat right now, you still are absolutely fighting for as many points as you can get to give yourself a chance in the final week, but you're also keeping in mind the gap that you have to spare with the demotion zone. And I think there's enough of a gap here that you can play pretty comfortably without having to worry about losing too many points. It's only if you take a really bad fourth where you start to get nervous, but you can, if you start to slide downwards, from 30,000 down to 10,000 or even worse, you can recognize that, okay, this is a game where I just need to stop the bleeding. And so I think Luce can play fairly normally. Yeah. And then with that win, Jeremy, climbing to 11th place is definitely feeling a little bit more comfortable. Of course, Eric still has games
in
to
his
play.
Place there, though.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't have any games this week. I've played mine ahead of time, so all these players have extra chances to make some ground up on my score. And then the final 2 weeks, the 6th round, will be a snaked round where all the players will be placed according to their ranking on tables against each other. So generally, the bottom half of the of the standings will play against other players from the bottom half, and the same goes for the upper half. Which means we'll all get the chance to fight each other again and really stake our claim on the promotion slots, or at least the not the demotion slots.
It'll be the playoffs that aren't exactly playoffs, but
Right.
still interesting matches to watch nonetheless. And we'll definitely bring that to you right here on twitch.tv/American Ricci. And we are underway with this next game 2 in A1. Oliver's our starting dealer. The Dora is 8 so. We see one of those in hand right now, but take a look at the rest of this. Manzu Onko, as well as a Pinzu pair, and also a Sozu pair. So good looking start here. Jeremy, similar story here. You got an Onko with 2 pairs and some good encouraging shapes as well to help speed things along. Loose, meanwhile, some good Onkos there. It's not Onkos, shapes there. Get my words mixed up. Good shapes there. Probably has some more work to do compared to the other two. And then Andre, pretty decent start as well, I'd say. You have some pairs that are all kind of more or less close together. So that'll be interesting to see there.
Well, I love my Sanshoku, and so I look at Luce's hand and think 4-5-6, 4-5-6. This is gonna happen. I just gotta find my pair, draw a couple 4s, and I've got that Sanshoku. Well, an extra 6 is the wrong pair, but it's still a possibility. Now for dealer, it's hard to finish these shapes because you want to use the Dora, but you need to draw the 7. And that is the Dora indicator. It always feels a little bit more difficult to draw the Dora indicator. And we can see there's 2 to the right, and of course 1 in the dead wall. So only 1 left to be drawn by Oliver. It seems incredibly difficult to use that Dora, and that might end up stalling this hand out. Now Luce has drawn the 4 so now. So trying to decide what direction this hand is going might end up on the 9 Montanki, in which case discarding this 8 ahead of time makes a lot of sense. But after drawing the 2 so, now you've got a 2-sided weight potentially if you draw into your Sanshoku. So we'll hope to end up there.
Andre picking up an Onko of the 8 pin. That's the Shanten now, I believe.
Yes, you were right.
It needs the 3 or the 6.
Both the Mon and the pin. Well, there's a 6 you can call for Tenpai, but wants to draw it himself and gets it.
Nice.
All right, so Ricci Tanyao waiting for a 3-6 pin. There are 4 left in the wall, but a chase from Jeremy. Drops the Dora indicator. So scary, but is willing to fight in East 1 for Ricci Dora. Waiting 5-8 Mon.
8 and the 5. Loose picking up the 3. Good read to hang on to it. Also fits well in the hand. It's that awkward sort of set where, you either can hold on to the 3 or the 6. In this case, both of them are what Andre's looking for, and he picks it up himself just like he did to get there for Ricci Sumo Dora 1, right?
I believe that was a Ricci Tsumo Tanyao.
Oh, Tanyao. Okay, right. That wasn't Dora.
But a nice pickup. I think there was there were 2 reach sticks there, right? So 4,000 plus the 2 reach sticks is excellent and pulls that is Andre into the lead.
Very nice sumo there. Well, let's move on to this hand now. East 2, the Dora is south. 2 Onkos already in the dealer's hand, and some good sequences to go along with them. This is looking in great shape here on the 4th discard. Loose, meanwhile, some good sequences of her own. Some other good choppiness, but we already have Ricci from Jeremy.
Ricci 3-sided 2-5-8 Mon.
This is killer for this early on.
That's ridiculous. Oh, draws a Dora, so maybe some indication that the hand might not be as valuable as he'd want it to be.
Mm-hmm. Not a lot of Dora around right now.
Yeah, just 1 in Luce's hand. Early dealer reaches.
If I was Luce, wouldn't you want to drop that Dora now before it gets now that you know it's absolutely safe, before too much time passes? Or do you hang on to that to maybe get some points for yourself?
I think it might depend a little bit on how you read the rest of the table. If you think the rest of the table is folding to this dealer Ricci, it might be worth to hold on to it a little bit yourself, thinking, well, if I could pair it up, then I'm willing to push my own hand. If you think the rest of the table is pushing because they might want the Dora, then you definitely want to get rid of it. Prevent that from sticking around your hand too long. And it does come out eventually. I was going to say Oliver on the left had a great hand that was also Ishan 10, but Jeremy got there first. And Jeremy finds the sumo and an Ura to make a 2,000
Ooh,
all as a
picks
great.
up the Ricci stick back. That's going to be 7,000 points for him and puts him in the lead by 1,000.
And another
East 2 continues with,
amazing high pie.
yeah, look at this. I mean, that's a flush just waiting to happen there. A couple of pairs in that flush as well. Two more on the honors side of it. That's looking incredible. Yeah, I think he's committing to this flush right away with that one pin.
Oh, tricky.
Ooh, looking at what Moose just picked up there.
Well, that discard of the 2-pin, if he's going for the flush and the pinzu, he might be trying to disguise it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he still could use a pair, and drawing the 2-pin would act as
Mhm.
a pair in this hand.
Yeah.
Especially, well, you need a pair if you're planning on calling both of the Yakuhai, which I'm
Mhm.
assuming he would be. But yeah, maybe disguising it just a little bit this way.
And now that you have Yakuhai, you could bail out of this flush if necessary.
Right. And that's another reason to drop the 2-pin over the nice floating 5 so and 8 5 mon.
Definitely takes people off your scent, and with all your other Pinzu on the other half of the 9, that makes a lot of sense.
Before I cut you off, you're in the middle of describing Luce's hand, and this is looking very Jun-chan-y
Oh, yeah.
with Dora as well. And
Very
after Jeremy drew the 4-mon, decides, okay, this is no longer a Honitsu. I'm going to call the East and have double East, Haku, loads of Fu.
I mean,
Maybe
yeah,
even
that's
Toy Toy
3
now.
Han. 3 Han just from the Yakuhai.
It would be 77, but if you can add Toy Toy to this,
Yeah,
that's 12K.
Yeah. It's a dealer's Mongon for sure.
How greedy? How greedy do you want to be? Oh, maximum greed.
Going
Okay.
for it. Toy Toy time. It's 4-mon, 7-pin. We see one of the 4-mon, two of them rather, in the hands right now, and 7-pin in Oliver's hand right now.
So that means this weight is completely dead unless one of those were to come out.
Yeah. Who's waiting on the 5? That would be Oliver.
On the left, yeah.
Yeah, waiting on the 2 or the 5.
Just Tanya Khan? No Khan. Okay. I was trying to think if that might induce the 4-mon to come out of someone's hand, but oh, it's Luce who's going to pick this up with that Jun-chan.
Jun-chan Dora 1, worth 4,200 points with the Honba added in.
Well, that's impressive. And so 3 players now over 30,000 as we move to East 3. That was an exciting round.
Absolutely. Again, though, we have a very close match, especially with first, second, and third right now, all above 30K. East 3 begins now with the 3-pin is the Dora, one of those in this hand right now for the dealer. Luce has also a pair and some other good shapes to go along with that. We're seeing 2 pairs in the honors for Andre, and a good presence of the Pinzu right now. We'll see what he makes out of that. Oliver, up at the top, has a pair here and there, but otherwise some good shapes set up. Jeremy also with a called 3 so that he called while I was describing Andre's hand there. And some good shapes and pairs all set there. Oh, another pair picked up there. Could we see a return of Toy Toy?
Perhaps. I'm really interested in Luce's hand here. Ishan 10 for Richidora 1, but potentially Ipeko. Oh, and there's the North, so no longer Otozuke. Jeremy could win this hand.
Yeah,
We just need to find Tempai.
It's Yakuhai.
Yes, Ishan 10 for that North Door 2. And of course, can call Pon on a 3-pin should it come out and make that a Mongon.
Definitely angling for Toy Toy yet again.
Oh, interesting decision here. I'm a fan of the Yonkan, and Luce chooses the 6-mon. So this removes the chance of the Ipeko.
Are we going to see him go to Shanpon again? We do. 3-pin, 6-pin. Looking much better prospects this time. Well, not quite.
Well, much better in the sense that in the last hand, there were 0 winning tiles in the wall. In this hand, there is 1. So you might say that it's infinitely better.
Trying to put
And
a
that
happy,
one tile is the 3-pin. That's the Dora.
trying to put a happy ending on this Toy story.
Oh, that was a 5-pin 101.
Hmm.
Oh no, look to the right.
Oh no.
That could be
Oh,
a toy.
a very expensive one. Toy with a half flush.
And East and potentially Hatsu, but Loose sees the Hatsu as Shompai, does not want to drop it. In fact, might even be a defensive play against what Jeremy is doing, because, you know, if it's Toy, a lot of times you have an honor pair to maximize the value. You'd be dealing into Mongon in that sense. But Loose recognizes the danger and not yet
Oh,
going to drop that.
Khan of the Easts. New Dora is 3, so.
Jeremy has 3.
It's in Jeremy's hand, yes.
So Jeremy has Hadamon all of a sudden.
And that
Wait,
3-pin
Baimon?
still nowhere to be found. 20
Yeah,
tiles left on the wall.
this is Baimon.
Yeah, because the 2 as well. Yeah, I forgot. The 3-pin is Dora. This is a game breaker right here. If that last 3 comes out.
Where is it?
Oh.
He has to draw it. I don't think anyone will discard, except maybe Andre has some incentive to fight for this, but...
But this is already looking visibly scary.
Yes.
4 Han on the board alone. And a very strong inclination. There's the 3!
What do you do? Do you start with a 7? No, pushes it!
Oh, and Jeremy with a game breaker hand. Toy North. Dora 6 for 1,600 points. Baimon, bringing him to 50,000 points.
Oh my.
And this close match is a close match no longer, everybody, as we move into East 4.
It felt like that was bound to happen. Andre, based off of the overall standings, needs to fight for his hands, and he had a monster hand of his own that he was each on 10-4. And I think a big part of that was Loose not dropping the Hatsu. That would have changed the turn order. Andre would have been Tempai. The 3-pin would have gone to Oliver instead. Everything would have changed in that hand, but it was really Loose who, prevented Andre from being able to win that.
Yeah.
Good defensive play by Loose.
Wow. Absolutely. Andre is a dealer now, though. He'll have a chance to recover some of those lost points there. The Dora is 2 Mon, and that would fit nicely in this hand, as one of those picks it up right away, in fact. Has some good sequences, the Monzu right now, and a pair in the Sozu. Speaking of Sozu, another Honitsu situation on Oliver's side. South, called the West already, has a couple Souths in queue. Jeremy, looking to maybe let his foot off the gas, but this is also looking pretty big. Already have a sequence or 2 set in stone, and left for Loose. You also see a sequence and a pair and some other good shapes as well. Ash picking up the Souths just now.
Yeah, found the Tempai. It's the 3 so. And
yes.
there's a potential that Jeremy might deal in if he draws us the 6 so. Oh, but it's Oliver who gets the 6 so, gets to switch the weight. And now we're on the 5 so. But there's still opportunity to switch this out. Was that the right discard? Did he mean to discard the 1 so there?
Well,
so with the 1 so you end up on a 4-7 weight.
Yeah.
So maybe a misclick. The 2 is right next to the 1. Now you can switch to the 7 Kanchan, and does do so. Jeremy still dancing around Tempai and chooses the right side to discard.
Yeah. Oliver now waiting on the 7.
Right, and it is Jeremy on the 6. Jeremy is finding a way to make 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku. I love it. Just needs to draw the 4-pin or another 7-pin. Oh, Tsumo!
Oh, wow. There you go. Sumo, Dora 1 with
Tanyao.
With Tanyao. 4,000 points to add to an already staggering lead. going into the half here in this game 2.
Yeah, right now, Jeremy looking at a plus 44, almost 44, plus 39. But if he can drag loose below 30,000, get the extra 5 points. So we're in South 1, you said?
Yes. And the Dora is 2. Oliver already has 2 Dora to strike back with here. We're looking at a couple of good, rather a sequence already set and some other good shapes to help move this thing along. If that 5's a good pickup as well, that's progress. Jeremy has a good 7, 8, 9, as well as a potential Ipeco. I mean, look at that Manzu. I mean, all those tiles are rather close together numerically. And Loose, meanwhile, a couple of pairs there and some good sequences queuing up as well. Andre, meanwhile, we see some good, well, a lot of closed weights right now. I thought that was going to fill one, and it doesn't quite. So Andre's definitely got his work cut out for him here.
Yeah, the ability to call the tune isn't terribly helpful because you don't have value outside of that, and you need something with a little bit more value than tune only. So we saw Jeremy had a decision: go for the Junchan type hand or go for the 1-2-3 Sanshoku, and angle towards the Sanshoku. Now draws the 1-so the Sanshoku totally live. We'll need to do a little bit more maneuvering to find a different pair than the one Bon.
Good progress for the dealer here with that 2-pin pickup. That's now
yeah.
10.
And I think dealer would be
Well,
absolutely willing to call this Ishanten, yeah. Either the 3-mon or the 6-mon will get you there. You drop the 5 and use the 3, so is your pair. And that, of course, having 2 Dora, you're willing to call into Tempai on just about anything. Loose doesn't want pairs here. Oh, the 6 so is a welcome draw, as now you can upgrade your shape to a Pinfu type shape.
Swapping the 7s there. And unfortunately, kind of stalling here.
Definitely with a wider shape than before, and trying to find a safe tile. We are at the end of the second row. You'd anticipate someone clearing Ricci here, but no one's really that close except for Jeremy. Well, speaking of Jeremy, there's your Ricci.
There's your, yeah.
Ricci, Pinfu, Dora 1.
Waiting on the 1 and the 4-pin. They can see 2 1-pins already discarded. And we can see all the rest of those tiles pretty much locked up in hands. Loose chases. And picks up the 5, Ipatsu. Ricci Ipatsu Sumo. With
Cha and the Dora.
And a Dora.
So Mongon.
A Mongon, 10,000 points. Definitely going to help you get above 30k and, give you a little bit of a head start should you want to ascend the summit here that Jeremy has made for the table.
Absolutely.
And Jeremy is now the dealer as we head into South 2.
Jeremy.
The Dora is... What's that?
Jeremy looking to set the limit a little bit higher with this high pie. Look at all that Manzu.
Yes, definitely a flush in the cards here. And, he's feeling all lucky with the Dora. You can easily... the Dora is the green dragon, and he's got one of them. So, he's definitely got some ability to really smash this thing home.
Question marks with that 6-pin. Yeah. And we've seen this a couple times from Jeremy. A lot of players will commit. Like, they see the Honitsu, they just go for it. Jeremy is more willing to accept other hands, so retains the 4-6-6 shape, which is fairly efficient.
Mm-hmm.
There's Chitoi outs as well. It doesn't have to be Honitsu, and Jeremy's trying to keep all the possibilities open.
Looking at the other hands around the table as we end the first row, Loose has a pretty nice shape in the Sozu. I know that shape probably has a name, but it's where the pair is right on top of the sequence. It always looks beautiful to me. And then you also have a pair in the Pinzu and some good shapes there. Probably would like to have been a little further along with that. Andre, meanwhile, Ipeco chance just about there, just needs a 4. So to finish that out, and good sequences to back that one up. And on the left, Oliver with a good presence of the Pinzu right now. Some good sequences kind of overlapping on each other there. And you have some good shapes forming up as well.
Yeah, this is one of those awkward hands where the dragon is the Dora and 3 players have 1. It's so awkward in that situation. And now this is the decision point for Jeremy.
That's Ipeco now. Should he choose to accept that 5? Oh,
Just
that's
takes the
actually
Ricci.
Tenpai. Yeah. Actually, not quite a Peiko now because you'd have the 1, 2, 3. Well,
Right. You would need another
you
3
need another
to
3. That's right.
go.
Or you can take the 6 and just win the hand.
Yeah, the really
Perfectly
greedy
fine.
play is to drop 6-pin, 6-pin there.
The 3 mon picked up from Loose now. Let's
I think
see.
Loose fought last round, but I don't think she'll want to do it this time round with the, even though the Hatsu was discarded as the reach tile. This time Jeremy is the dealer. And so a direct hit would be a little bit more expensive. Also,
Oliver picking up a 6.
Oh, that puts Oliver close. He's Ishanten now. For reach Pinfu.
Oh, there's a 6 pickup now.
Loose can actually fight for Tenpai here.
Yeah. The
2 more
3
draws
and the
left.
6 we saw completed 2 sequences in that hand.
Tenpai across the table for Ipeiko.
For Andre, and leave the 3, 6, or 9. But that'll be it. The no 10 payments for Ryukyoku. Jeremy stays in this, though, picking up 1,500 more points. As we continue with South 2, the Dora is 3 pin. A good starting hand from Jeremy. A couple pairs. And some shapes that are all pretty close together, so that could work. We'll see. Loose, meanwhile, some good shapes in this hand. But nothing really concrete just as of yet. Andre, kind of a similar story, though you do have a completed sequence in the Pinzu that looks nice, as well as a couple of Souths, the Charyaku High. And left for Oliver, we see also a Yaku High pair. And now that's a Yaku High triplet, picking up the Norths there. And that definitely has, I think, the best chance now, with a good sequence in the Sozu, and some very nice shapes in the other suits as well.
2 away from Tenpai there, you want to draw around the Dora. We've been looking a lot at Jeremy. Jeremy's score being so high up there with over 50,000. And of course, Loose's score is as she's chasing Jeremy down. But there's a battle going on for 3rd and 4th between Oliver and Andre here. One at 14,000, one at 15,000. So, of course, you have incentive to have the stronger placement between the 2 players, but both are still in the negatives, even if they're to end here. So you really need to do, or you have some incentive to do more than just that and fight for a little bit more in your hands. We are only in South 2, so there's still time to improve. Still more hands to get. But it's starting to get to the end of the game, and you're thinking, how can I get a positive placement out of this? And speaking of that, that's why we see Andre across the table drop the 7-pin out of the 7-8-9 shape. He wants more than just, south or Ricci south.
You're in last. You're pretty deep at last.
Yeah.
Well, not too much to 3rd, but you're pretty far below 30k. You'd need to more than double your score.
Yeah, unfortunately for Andre, Loose is the one who has picked up the South and the Hatsu and has been slow to discard those, recognizing the Honitsu that's brewing.
Jeremy had some pretty neat prospects for this hand. You were seeing a lot of Ankos coming together. But now I believe he's just going to take the quick and easy way out. Well, I say quick as we move into the third row, but
Hmm.
still the easier way from this junction. I believe we got Tenpai at this table though, and
On
then
the left,
moving
it's
on
Oliver
to
waiting on the 8 so. For the North
yes,
door 1.
8 only. One of those left in the wall. Only 20 tiles left in said wall.
There's some cases where you'd prefer the Shampon because the 6 mon is in a suit that the Honitsu player doesn't need. But the upgrades around the Shampon, I think, were going to be 50-10. So that might be a reason why Oliver chose to wait for the Kanchan.
I believe Loose is folding now, breaking up that 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that makes sense here.
Don't want to drop the South. That's not been dropped yet. Ipeko for Jeremy, technically.
Ishanten.
Ishanten could still go for it. All you need is one good draw coming up right now.
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah. Know when to quit.
He doesn't need to risk anything here.
Oh, absolutely. You don't want to. I mean, you got this lead all of a sudden, you could just as suddenly lose it.
Loose almost has
and Loose
a
now. Oh.
so Honitsu of her own, but
Oliver is going to be the only one in Tenpai to finish this one out, gaining 3,000 points in a rather critical place right now. So that's going to help him out quite well. At least give him a little bit of a leg up here. Of course, his time is limited, being that dealership has already passed him here in South 3. The door is 8 mon, and already 2 of them for Loose, and a pair with 3 other pairs in it. So this could be a very rather expensive Chi toy, especially considering she's dealer right now. Andre, also with 4 pairs of his own, 5 pairs in fact. He is Ishanten for Chi toy. Would have had his 6 pair right there, but discarded it, sadly.
Oh, that is so sad.
Yeah. Oliver, already picking up the Hatsu, has the whites in his pocket, and already Tenpai waiting on the one-so.
Oh,
Now,
I feel like he's going to win. He's definitely going to win.
Oh, there's the one-so picked up by Andre right now. Probably not even on his radar, except for those 2 calls.
Andre might wait on the one so. The reason it's such a good wait is because you can see 3 of the 2 so it's so hard to use a one so. And that might be why Andre keeps the one so, because he's going for pairs. He's expecting other players to discard it, but I'm expecting Jeremy will be discarding that once he finds Tenpai.
I think so. Yes, I think you're right. Absolutely. Loose calling the 8 pin. Looking like going for a quick toy. Tanyao.
Yeah, Tanyao door 2 is not bad.
Mm-hmm. And it gives you the continuance.
Across the table, Oliver, having dropped 3 9-pins, is feeling a little bit sad until that one comes out. And
there you go. 4,200 points from the leader to bring up to 22,500 as we head into all last already. Andre's dealer to finish things out. He's in last. Has a lot of work ahead of him now. Starting off with this hand, though, I don't know. This is going to be a difficult one if you do want to convert. Definitely has a lot of open shapes here. That's the silver lining, but nothing really set as of yet, except for maybe a pair.
If you're optimistic, you say, I'm going to pair up the Dora East and then call for my Yakuhai and win. With 12K.
Dora is East. And looking on the right at Oliver's hand, you do see some sequences already set, 2 of them to be exact. Other good shapes ready to go there as well. Across, we see in Jeremy's hand a couple of pairs. Some other good shapes there. Otherwise, a lot of work for him to do there. Loose, meanwhile, a sequence already set and a pair or 2. Actually, 2 sequences set. So, very good situation for her to be in. A great way to Just kind of hammer home a good second place. If you really wanted to get greedy, you could go for first, but I don't really see how you do that with this hand necessarily.
Yeah, first a little bit closer, only just over 10,000 away, 10,600. So not Mangan Sumo, you'll need a little bit more. But yeah, I was wondering if Jeremy would open. Indeed, he does. He's willing to just take 1,000 points home
Yeah.
and confirm the big first place. You know, there might be a little bit more incentive for Jeremy to fight for a few more points, given you're not safe with just one big win. You could lose that in the next game. But I think it makes a lot of sense in this situation to speed things along.
It'll certainly get him out of demotion range, which I think was his goal going into tonight.
Each.
We have
Ooh,
Ricci called, waiting on the 4 or the 1. Sorry,
Or
no, the 5
7.
or the 2. Or the 7.
Yeah,
No,
is 4-7
wait,
here?
it's
The
not
4 Mon deals
Oh.
into Jeremy.
I was completely wrong about that anyway. But
Yeah,
dealing
kind
into
of.
Jeremy, he's going to get 2,000 points with that stolen Ricci stick, bringing up to 49,000 as we get the final scores up here, taking home 34 plus 0.3 UMA points. That's definitely going to send some ripples in that side of the canyon. Luce gaining 11 points of her own, Ash losing 13.5, and Andre losing 32.5, which is just insult to injury there at the bottom, unfortunately.
This time around, I do not remember the scores from the first game, and I forgot to take a screenshot of those, but can safely say that Jeremy should be moving up quite comfortably into the 11th position. And Luce, who I believe had taken a small 20-point hit after game 1, picks up 11.7, so mitigates some of the damage there. And for Oliver and Andre, not the result that they're looking for, but still 2 more games in this session. And then there's the snaked round, the all-important snake round in week 6 that will determine quite a bit of placement in A1.
And the least of that, of course, well, not the least of it, I'd say the most of it is who gets to walk out of here with first. I mean, look at the top now. We've been looking around at the bottom of this leaderboard, but the top, it's a pretty close match for first place here. Ming Ko hanging on to that with less than 20 points of a lead here.
And Minko has been playing quite well not just this season, but throughout the inaugural Beta League into spring and now the summer, and has found their way into currently the lead. Still 2 more games to be played this week, and then we'll fight it out in the last round. And of course, don't forget about Kenyon, who has games yet to play, as well as Vincent. Both could make a push to claim that top spot.
Absolutely. And as we should note to anybody just now joining us, Tenno is having a little bit of technical difficulties tonight, so these scores are not taking into effect any of the games that happened tonight. We did have another A1 game go through as well, which is not reflected here. But we hope to get those full results to you shortly. You can keep up with all that on our website, AmericanRicci.org.
Absolutely. And once the Tenho issue gets fixed, the scores will be updated there as well.
And hey, while you're on the website, we have just a few days left, 18 to be exact, to register for our Fall League. If you would like to join this crazy action you've seen tonight, regardless of your skill level, you are welcome to join us at AmericanRicci.org. And you can also keep up with the league on Twitter at AmericanRicci. And of course, follow us right here, twitch.tv/AmericanRicci.
And finally, if you are interested in watching any of our previous broadcasts, those are available at our YouTube channel.
tinyurl.com/ARMLYT.
That's it.
All that's in the chat right now, so take a look over on that. Nathaniel, where can they find you?
Well, they can't find me anywhere. I'm attempting to remain mysterious in my socials, but I know that you've got some Twitter action.
That is right. Yes, you can find me at SB Singletary or at Smawman if you feel up to that. But there you can find my own Mahjong journey as well as the first episode of my new podcast, which has absolutely nothing to do with Mahjong. But if you want something to listen to, I certainly won't turn you away. So
That sounds
it's
quite
called Career
interesting.
Tech Conversations. So fun times.
I'll be sure to check that out, and I hope you will as well.
Absolutely. We worked pretty hard on that. I'm actually working on the second episode just before I came on here tonight. So some pretty crazy action. It's been quite a night here in the ARML. Any parting thoughts before we close things up?
Absolutely thrilling to watch these games. Looking forward to seeing the rest throughout this week. It gets very tense this time of the year once we hit the final two sessions of the league. Everything comes down to these games that are about to happen. Your promotion, your demotion, your season finale winners. It's all going to come down to these 2 weeks. So just really excited to see some more.
Absolutely. So be sure to follow us right here on twitch.tv. But that'll do it for us tonight. I'm Blaine Singletary, and with Nathaniel and Scott helping run things on the back end, we wish you all a good night.